Let's find out what Vertigo holds for us. Eyeballers versus Space going into Space's map pick. Eyeballers starting off on the CT side. No surprises there, but I am looking forward to seeing what exactly they sport. They do occasionally like to actually take this map out in the second phase as well, so can't imagine they'll be the most comfortable.
Yeah, this will be a very big test. Definitely a bit of a curveball coming into the veto, but Team Space starting on that T side with a single Molotov and a smoke available here on Vert, but, I mean, this is his map, so I hope he's able to conduct them pretty nicely here. Space, or actually finding some space over towards the A-bomb site. JW peeking over towards ramp after not hearing much contact or any steps on that ramp, decided to face check it and loses his head for that information gathering play. So Team Space finding an advantage, and I don't imagine Eyeballers are going to sit around for much longer. Well, they have actually sat.
Yeah,
for
I
a lot longer.
I was really hoping you'd pick up on that. Pepsol's waiting for a flashbang to go in. That's Fozzy taken out. Early deals are going the way of Eyeballers, and Golden is the one holding the money. Doolies pick up another, and it's a 4 versus 3. Eyeballers happy to reset back, but they have to be careful about the Trunic lurk into middle. They're aware of the possibility, but as Trunic reveals his position and takes over the B side, it's all down to Heap, and he is flanking them, only to be taken down eventually. Dennis, the menace. Trunic but playing back Jenny. Just trying to play these out slowly. Duel's going his way. Always a tricky angle to deal with. Double kill found, and Trunic gives them the round.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great lurk there from Trunic, and basically the only way they get back into that round is by the fact that he's able to carve out so much space over towards B. Even with Heap's advanced position, I think he was able to flank down towards T spawn, just outside of that entrance to B, and actually severed the rotate into that bomb site, and, you know, had Heap been able to get both those kills, the round kind of doesn't just explode right then and there, but between Trunic and Dan, it's able to get double kills for the both of them. Does provide a lot of space. Nice to see that both the Eyeballers and Space were kind of playing this long patience game, but Eyeballers, with that flash play over at A, did send Space the other way. I'm getting strong vibes of, I'm not familiar with your game. And so they're both kind of feeling each other out. How I'm gauging this so far. I think especially with a team that is typically quite proactive, Eyeballers do like hunting for information in sort of early and mid rounds. I think Eyeballers are probably going to stay away from doing that, given that Team Space have selected this map pick, and, you know, they're probably very familiar with the way that Eyeballers want to play it out.
Yeah. Snappick is hoping that his Deagle can find a bit of success, but there's no flash to help it this time, so Vert just goes full wide swing. Finds him, takes him down, and if that's going to be a tendency, then Vert is going to look to punish it. Consistently trying to play up close to Crane, and, well, Vert's gone and found a second as well, and now you're looking at a 5-on-3 with the pistols not really finding any damage either. Worst case scenario for the CT side is they won't be finding a single kill, maybe even in the entire round.
Nice, simple work here from Team Space against the Force Spy. Just setting up for that A execute, and yeah, Vert creating a lot of opportunity for the rest of the squad to converge on that A-bomb site. Don't imagine Heap is going to get away with much either on his attempt to save. You know, usually on rounds like this, you would kind of prioritize going for a hunt, but with 5 alive here from Space, the likeliness he gets away with 1 kill or anything sort of salvage from this round is impeccably low.
Dude, I swear they need to remove this from Vertigo. I really don't like the fact that it's so similar to what we had on Inferno, where you could just try and hide in pit. I want a little bit more damage, but it's so hard, I imagine, on Vertigo to balance it out so it doesn't also leak out into the verticality of things.
Mm-hmm. What you do is you make the levels, like the floors,
thicker.
extra bomb resistant, and then you make the crane and the walls over at A not so bomb resistant. I'm sure that's a thing that could be tweaked.
I don't think bomb resistance is a thing. I think it's just armor penetration, and all walls have different armor values.
Yeah, probably.
So you just make them thick. Yeah.
But I still want them to be spammable. So.
I'm at the floors.
Yeah. I'm just thining that
you want
that
the floors to be spammable.
That metal wall and the crane, they're what's really stopping the bomb from doing too much damage.
Of course.
Ooh.
Oh.
So that's
Golden's been headbutted. Yeah. Never feels good about that. In the meanwhile, the CTs finally get a kill with what they force bought into in the previous round. Heap will be somewhat content with it. Can drop the op to JW as well. Happily so. If they want to feature that in the next round. Space off to a good start.
Yeah, good to see. From patience as well to immediate exploitation of ramp when they know that eyeballers don't have the weaponry or the utility to really be able to contest it. So now that we're moving into a first gun round for the eyeballers where a lot of those facilities will be there now. Interested to see how Space approach it, whether they're going to continue this kind of slow roll and play reactive to what the eyeballers are offering up, or whether they're going to come in with a quick plan. They do still have X5 on... Oh, they did have X5 on the SMG, but has snapped into an AK as well, so I am anticipating a slower approach here from the Ts. But they're coming with some nice sharp shots as well. You know, Vert on some of his entries. We saw some nice shots from Trunic in that last round as well. Which, if you're going to go toe for toe and blow for blow with these eyeballers players, you have to come in with a nice sharp hand. Trunic, as I sing his praises, does get found early on. And Pepslor is actually lined up for a double. Finds a good damage nade to finish off Fossil all alongside that opening pick he found.
And this is where on Vertigo sometimes it feels like if you want to try and play the more slow and measured pace because you just got a new fly or something, hold the point. Danis, not revealed. Only X5 shows his position and Danis can continue lurking forward. So if X5 gets a kill elsewhere or gets found out, they might overlook middle. That's still a disadvantage going away. Could be a 4-on-2 in that situation if Danis dies, or rather if X5 dies. So have to be careful. X5 continues to get some good damage. I can't believe Golden's sticking around. He's going to be naded down to 40 as well. You'd think after the previous round he would have started to be a little bit scared of the shrapnel, but no, Golden's not a man to feel fear.
Could be a timing here for Danis inside of middle as well. Starts crawling out, and he hears a lot of the rotates peel away from this B bomb site. Danis waiting for the right time to strike, and everyone's lowering their guard to the potential of a mid flank. This position here for Danis could be absolutely everything in the round, especially if X5 drives the attention away. Danis has them all lined up, and nobody the wiser, but he didn't see that second player up close, and so Sapik can trade. That could have been a multi-kill there for Danis. That could have turned the round on its head, but Team Space are running towards the other bomb site. It is a total foot race. The nade from Sapek won't be enough to find the kill, but he can stop them from going in for that plant. Vert, bomb in hand, had to try and punch in those digits, and Sapek finds him. So the eyeballers realizing what's happening just before Team Space get into a position on that B bomb site, saving the round.
That's a very good adjustment coming through from Sapik there, but Danis does feel like he completely dropped the ball. Saw 3 different players, tries to go for the first kill, knows that the second one is around the corner. He sees the hand, so he can assume it's a utility in his hand. Doesn't really swing out over there, doesn't really take the duel because the first one is a bit more labored. He's worried to die to the headshot box. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's the most that he could have gotten from his position with how many resources were put into him finding it.
Yeah, of course that was them trying to bail out of a man deficit, so, you know, in that chaos, understanding that they had to try and make a play. Fortunately, Danis making the wrong one, but this round has started off rather nicely here for Space. 2 opening picks, one over towards Ivy or Short over on that A side of the map, and they've as well punished Heap exploring the B steps. So, 1 kill found either side of the map. Space can afford to play slow because the eyeballers are not going to be too happy with the fact that they've lost 2 players on both extremities so early on.
And eyeballers have to angle in for a save over here. Sure, if they commit it over toward the A side, you still have a chance of things, but realistically, this is not going to be a rotation back towards B, despite all the utility that you have and everything you've got going into the next round. Potentially, you do want to just save over here. Now, space slowing down does open them up into walking into this stack, losing 2 players or so, and making this a lot more doable. But with the flashbang to retake and all these players just inching forward, this is a very slow move to the A site.
And the longer they wait, the more chance there is that that bomb could struggle to get a plant in.
I'm surprised that none of the incendiaries and whatnot are being used. There's 25 seconds on the clock, and now Golden spotting out the first. The MP9 swings out. There come the incendiaries. Golden as well, using his at the same time. They're trying to get a full decline off the side. Vert is down. Dink as well onto Trunic. Things are getting hairy, and JW is yet to reveal himself. Coming in from short, waiting for Fozil to come out. He wants to try and win the duel, but Fozil takes him down. Golden's the only one left to try and make this round possible. They simply can't get it done. Eyeballers using a lot of incendiaries when they initially make contact, and I just feel like that could have been maybe delayed a little bit longer.
Yeah, they kept finding kills on that bomb carrier as well, so it just adds to the chaos there for Team Space. And you could see just after that round, from a 5-on-3, things get very hairy into a 2-on-2, where if they didn't find those kills, it was very likely that they'd get timed out on the round. Trying to screw their heads on straight, make sure that they don't cede such a big man advantage so quickly in such a pivotal moment, because the Eyeballers, I mean, they make the right call. They stack that A bomb site, and like you said, it's kind of this effort to save, but once they realized Space were heading their direction, they kind of held all the cards as well. That, and they've been put on notice very early on this game that Space have liked going for these late mid lurks as well.
Ooh. Oh, so sharp.
It's a very nice opener for Danis on the AWP.
Space has shown a very nice dynamic range of how they're playing Vertigo so far, and I'm honestly very surprised to see this. Not because of the fact that I think Space isn't a good team, it's just, like I said before, they do pretty frequently second ban this. So far, we've seen them go full freeze, trying to enable that mid lurk. We've seen them actually get a little bit more aggressive towards the A short area. And yes, there still was a lot of freezing in the middle of things, but it's this nice little dynamicism. Dynamicism? They're dynamic. That's my point.
Dynamo. I love dinosaurs.
Yo, they are kind of fire, aren't they?
Yeah. If they existed.
They did. Shut up.
It's debatable.
What, you think that was like someone's pet dog or something with all those bones? Sapek, though, in the meanwhile, trying to take that first peak, is taken down. Pepzor as well can find nothing, and Eyeballers are finding surprisingly little with all of these pistol half-buys. I'm really was expecting them to have a little bit more punch behind those secondaries, but apparently not.
Yeah, it all started with just that AWP pick from Danis, who is kind of a newly fledged AWPer. People will remember him from being on Bet Boom. You know, the AWP role is occupied on that squad, and it wasn't by Danis, so... Sorry, Heap, you can't actually slide down this. Yeah, it's one of the many fun quirks about Vertigo. It's an angled piece of, I don't know, not plywood, but I forget what it's called. Anyway, those slabs, even though slanted, you actually can't surf down them, so you always make noise. But anyway, my point was that Danis is kind of newly donning the AWP since joining this Team Space roster, and with some mixed results. You know, he's still a rifler at heart, and he's still rifling predominantly, but
Yeah.
for him, they just need someone that was going to be an AWPer, and when they made these roster moves to bring in both him and X5, there actually was nobody to occupy that role, and so Danis has picked it up, and I don't think he's looked poor on the AWP at all.
I see CIS player, I assume they can AWP.
I feel like
That
that's
might
just a
be
CS player thing, actually.
Listen, every opera has an I in their name, but no, X5 in the meanwhile finds Sapek, takes him down, can't really move back into the Molotov, is a little bit worried that there could be a push coming in from the other side, but with a flash to try and delay, Golden is going to be relegated from any responsibilities he had. He will be waiting for a peek forward, and so far Eyeballers are again looking like they are being slightly bamboozled across the map. There's plenty of time for space to reset, and with Golden re-smoking, the only place you can get information from is from actually over ramp, but JW having the op can't really find much. If you want to get aggressive, it would have to be on Heap. So meanwhile, Pepsaw moves back, spots out the first. Trunic has been found, and with a re-smoke out towards the entrance of B, that's gone a little bit too deep actually. They can start moving past, and Pepsaw might be caught off guard.
Setting up for you, Tilt. But quite late on the deployment, once again. Team Space opting to go for a lot of these executes and these side hits at that 25-second mark. Pepsaw not in a place to deny, but the flash is sent over by his teammates does justify his swing, only to fall. But they do find that planter, and that does cause a little bit more chaos here for Team Space. Basil full HP, recommitting to that plant, and sure, they get that bomb down, but it's now Danis in a 1v3.
And he's going to know what Golden is trying to get up to. Golden coming up close and personal. Danis, great adjustment. Delays his peak in the second, couldn't be faster. And now with the tap out, JW is a dead man. Danis, he's an upper for sure.
This guy, you're telling me this guy didn't ult before? For me, that's a really, really nice clip there from Danis. Just perfect precision, such fast shots, and you know these are players as well that were trying their best not to overexpose themselves. Sure, Golden at first, kind of unsure about where Danis was positioned. He does get caught off, but from then on out, they were limiting the amount of skin that they were going to show that up, and still Danis nailed every shot.
I would also like to point out that all three of those were slightly different style of shots. You know, the first one's a bit of an adjustment; he doesn't immediately shoot. The second's a pre-fire, and the third is the flick.
A man of many talents.
It's kind of nuts, actually.
and reflecting on Danis' stint at BetBoom, I actually think he looked really good with the roster initially, and him getting removed, it did feel a little bit, I wouldn't say unjustified, because he did have a tapering off towards the tail end of his tenure there, but for me, he's a player that clearly is kind of in that development phase and probably needs to explore other opportunities or other roles, other spots to play. I wouldn't have expected the AWP to be a part of the repertoire, but that's a part of the learning experience is kind of facilitating and understanding all these different elements of what Team Counter-Strike has to offer.
So I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm getting a lot of phony strikes again from you. No, of course not. But no, a lot of these young players do need that, right? And
yeah,
I don't know. At some point, it feels like everyone's tried opping, but then you don't really look that good on it. You start playing it some FPLs, it's like, oh, maybe, and then eventually you come against like Simple or Zhu in an FPL, and you're like, maybe I'll leave this.
Yeah, we try not to compare ourselves to those guys. It's like you've got Simple, Zaiwu, Modesty, Device,
Shiro.
Yeah, Shiro.
You can't not compare yourself to like 5 people, right? Like, that's the problem with op.
I'm delusional. Watch me.
It's like, bro, but like, you don't know. I could probably out-op Smiths.
I'm a top 5 AWPer in the world if we subtract all those other 5.
Well, X5 has been subtracted. Finally, some success coming out from the half-wise as well. And now the double nade is looking pretty golden. Second time over. He's not feeling happy about this at all. He at least does respond with a 5-7, and he keeps it going. But the pressure isn't enough to take down Danis. 4 versus 3, and Eyeballers do have an AK recovered here on ramp, playing aggressively. Sapik, here's his full rotation coming through. Danis not ready at all. Good for 1, good for 2, and Vert is wondering where it all went wrong.
Well, it started at the B bomb site. That is almost certainly the case. I mean, losing a player so early as well on lurk over towards A wasn't ideal, but they fall to the upgraded pistols here of the Eyeballers, coming in with just a bit of utility, some upgraded pistols, and with that extra stopping power and that pressure being applied, Team Space didn't like what they were seeing when they went for that B-side execute, but they invested so many resources that, you know, it was a very last-ditch effort to go over towards A, only to be met with that AK. That was good trigger discipline as well from Sapek. You know, didn't overcommit to that first duel, understood that he wasn't going to be checked, and, you know, waited long enough that a second Team Space player was going to be very nearby, and that was just a difficult adjustment for them to make so quickly. You know, usually when we think of trigger discipline, you know, you've already got 2 targets in your sight and you're kind of lining up the shots, but sometimes just adding that extra 1 or 2 seconds can give you a favorable duel in the next.
I just checked Dennis' stats, by the way, on Initial TV. He has only 200 sniper kills in his career out of 2,900 total, so... yeah, this is clearly a very new adjustment that he's been trying to make.
I mean, you just look at like his tenure with BetBoom, and you look at how many AWP kills he has, and it's practically 0. So,
hey, I'm sure there's like 3 rounds where he's saving it up and gets a few.
Yeah, and that is the case for many players, even the ones that you wouldn't want to AWP probably, and they wouldn't want to AWP either.
You know what, Michael? Is there a player that, you know, you think about, let's say, tier 1 pro player that you specifically not want to up? Try and save that question for later on when not in a gun round. I would like to hear your opinion.
I mean, I don't even need to think about it. I have an answer, like, straight up.
What is it?
Rain.
Yeah, but I just imagine the big Viking with a big gun. You know,
No, I'm sure he'd tell you himself. You wouldn't want the AWP.
Probably not. But Dennis has one to the AWP, and he won't have one in this round, so I guess you don't really get to choose over here. JW will, however, be sporting his weapon of choice. Stolen over from the T side.
They wanted to fight for ramp as well. Not going for a standard ramp smoke, going for what I think many consider the endpoint smoke deep down towards short.
I have never heard it being called the endpoint smoke before.
Well, it is. It is pretty well known, of course. Endpoint did innovate quite a lot of stuff on Vertigo at one point or another.
Vertigo and Once Upon a Time does too, for sure.
And everybody nabbed their strats. Unlucky.
Yeah. Big Clan had that happen first. Golden, in the meanwhile, is still playing jump spot over here. Has to be very careful. Was taken out earlier on, and with 3 AKs on the other side, who's to say it won't happen again? Sapek will be the sacrifice for Golden not being able to fight in over here. Sapek was in a very exposed position, and with the Golden not using the smoke early on, that's making it more difficult. Now, however, Vert can't really scale up. There's a Molotov on his side. Had to jump up and trace down Golden. Flashbang is great, but Golden is better. Comes through with an immediate kill, and now in a 4-on-4, Pepstar's trying to get sneaky in from behind. Trunik, the spam is annoying, but Pepstar more so. X5 taken out, and Fozzy tagged up. The bomb cannot make its way over into the site. When it finally does, there's going to be more duels happening elsewhere. Pepstar continues to strike. They know where he is, but Trunik needs to find the initial kill. Can't do it. Heap takes him down, and now it's all about sandwiching this Vertigo Round player. Nanis all alone. Did hear the tap over there, but they're being very respectful of him. Already 1v3 that he's pulled off. The first kill can be found, but he can't accelerate in time to actually get more done over here. JW even finishing him off after the defusal comes through.
Yeah, Danis was really hoping that Pepsor would overswing a lot earlier than that, because he had to challenge at some point or another for that diffuser, and Pepsor's position would have been perfect to cancel. It's a bit of a shame, but really well played from Eyeballers in that 3 versus 1, like you said. All guards raised, understanding that Danis did just 1v3 them in a round gone by. But really nice patience expressed from the Eyeballers, considering the slow pace that Team Space wanted to play with. They just waited at that A ramp, hoping that somebody would swing it at some point, and nobody did. You know, it came down to that final 30 seconds, and Space had exhausted all their resources. None of their scaling onto A was comfortable at all.
Oh.
Good
Damage
bout
is
of
looking
utility
good.
from Heap.
He's making no secrets about where he is, though. And that's where the Tech-9s are going to be looking to trace him down. He spots them dropping in, knows there's going to be more coming over, but now with the rotation back towards the still beam, Fossil can still trace him down, and Pepso has to push the smoke with his fire, there's smokes, there's players to fight with, and he can get none of them out of his mind. Bomb can be planted now, but the grenade from JW could still make this work. Nicely done. X5 gone, but a little bit late. So the bomb will be down. So 3-on-3. CT should try and recover. JW's incendiary is there. Boost up, and that means with the first falling, the second one would have as well. Fozzy kills him mid-air. So Golden is saved the humiliation of dropping to his death, at least. It's kind of funny.
I thought it would have been much better if had he just fallen, to be honest. That would have been great.
Better for us, no doubt about it. JW, please. Missing a bit of a sitter in his attempt to try and save the AWP, and now the adjustment comes in, sure, but more angles to play up against, more angles to be worried about, and Fozzy has been on a tear this round, giving them the full ace.
Yeah, I mean, these were great entries from Fozzy. I mean, as soon as he saw Heap at the back of the bomb site at quad, immediately ran him down, saw where that smoke came from as well, even though he got flashed up and there was a smoke blooming in his face. Knew as soon as he found that kill that the round was going to get easier from there on out, because he was just trying to buy time and allow Pepso to make that rotation in, but, you know, they just end up so, honestly, deviously empty-handed, considering the fact that they had that fast response from Pepsor. But Heap getting completely caught off guard. We had JW as our player to watch, but he started this game quite rough and is kind of continuing on that trend, unfortunately. It's a nice kill from Sapek, catching X5, creeping the smoke in it short, and they're actually fighting for ramp, and Sapek's got a real tough chance of actually escaping, but they don't maintain the spam, maybe expecting him to re-swing from 51. But they have found themselves into a man advantage, the Eyeballers.
Pepso also wants to try and maintain it, but with his Molotov down at his position, Smoke's going to be very delayed. He has a lot of damage dealt to him early on. Nade's going to finish him off as well. We've seen so many good nade kills coming out from space, and now with JW about to be forced off his angle, he's trying to aggress forward. His position might have been revealed. I think the tick was heard, but Fozzy really not expecting the op on the other side, so right back to a 2-on-2, an op on either team. But Space, as always, their tendency does seem to be re-navigating back to B.
Yeah. Oh, our first plan didn't work. Let's try the other bomb site. And the Eyeballers have been pretty heavily over-rotating between these bomb sites, often ending up in a foot race. This time they weren't quite so fleet-footed. Free plant here for Space. This time don't have to worry about getting naded or molotoved off that plant. 2-on-2, and Trunic trying to play up close, but a fresh smoke that blooms under the feet of the Eyeballers. One player will jump out. Dino can't quite make the adjustment, but Trunic closes the gap and will catch both of them. Blissfully unaware that the other side of the generators was going to be compromised so quickly. Trunic with perfect timing to catch them out.
Space has had some really impressive individual positioning and some little skill decision making in these mid-late round situations. That you can see that's one of the reasons why they're leaning into such late round bomb site commits and bomb plants. All of their players are making excellent decisions on how to, you know, navigate around the movement of the enemy in this and that, and it's just great to see, right? Even the one round that they give up to Eyeballers where Danis misses out on that mid lurk, you could also see that, hey, that probably should have been their round, because the late round situation, I'm not going to talk about it, don't worry.
If I say you're not going to talk about it, you're talking about it.
Talking about what?
Huh?
Flash and Fossil's face.
And a molly mid. Trunic won't commit to that lurk, however. Falling back after showing some presence. That's something that Eyeballers will have to keep in mind. They know that there's been several on mid lurk, but they should be also somewhat aware of the fact that usually when there has been that lurk, there actually hasn't been any util that's been thrown by Space when they actually commit a player there. Wonder whether or not they're going to read into how Space have been playing those spots or not. Trunic reasserting himself in mid while the team group up over at B, so Trunic will serve to be a late activation, but the executes themselves from Space have been hit or miss. See whether or not they've got another hit in them.
Keep close range on the MP9 wants to try and find a timing. If there was a flashbang, this would have been great, but not available. No one even playing anti-flash on the Space side, so it does feel like a missed opportunity. Heap only gets one, and X5 and Vert will open up and keep it going, but they've set up for the backstab of Sapek. Comes through with a quick double. Danis now switching back out to an AK. He knows there isn't enough time to be able to actually get the bomb down on the other side, so he's relying on Trunic to come through, be the lurking player. Trunic's got one. Knows that the second one's around the corner. Golden visible, but he saves the day. 4-8, and we're off to a break to see if Eyeballers can recover in that second half. First half was a masterclass from Space, 8-4 to top things out, looking very good, and frankly that could have been a 10-2 as well. The question is, can they continue through and finish in second, or will Eyeballers be given a chance to recover on their T side?
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what to expect coming into this Vertigo, but Space coming in with quite a good game plan. You know, a lot of these slow executes that the Eyeballers actually had to recover from very frequently. A lot of these late rotations that, again, the Eyeballers weren't quite prepared for, but they still salvaged together some rounds. So all about how they bound back into the second half. Golden, a nice little lurk up towards A, finding the head of X5, but the rest of the squad are composing themselves for a scale onto B, where they'll have to compete with Vert as that solitary defender.
Oh, wow, Dennis. Clean shot coming through. Golden's not going to be feeling happy about that one at all. And with this now, CTs are reinforcing back towards the B-bomb site. No Molotovs to come through to flush Trunic out of position. He's going to have fair fight, but he just can't win now. Sapex had a great game so far. Comes out with the first one. And now with JW and Heap as well, coming through with their own respective frags. It's a B side taken over. Only Fozil remains.
Oh, does find one on the flank very quickly, and because he doesn't have a kit, he does have to try and find these kills as fast as possible, but they commit to the double swing, both in different positions, but able to collect and make sure that both have eyes on the target when it really came down to it. You know, a very simple execute built up there from the Eyeballers, very simple scaling onto that B-bomb site, but I have to say, kind of hats off to Golden for that round, just providing so much presence on that A-bomb site that Team Space were none the wiser until the Eyeballers started throwing all that util over B. Also, Golden being the in-game leader, you know, he called that, so...
Yeah.
Good for him.
Alternatively, it could also be JW's thing. Golden,
yeah, why don't you find kills on A, bro?
Try going A and lurking there. Golden just gets flashbacks to when he was changed to an entry fragger before he was kicked from the team. Oh, not this again. Oh, JW. Great. Money being made by him. 3 Mac 10 kills, 4 Mac 10 kills, 4 Mac 10 A's. Is it the Mac taste? Yes, it is. That's ridiculous. It's just 6,700, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm sure they're hating how that Mac tastes. Now, will he actually commit to the AWP or not? To be honest, it's very JW not to. But at the same time, getting an AWP out nice and quickly would certainly catch Team Space out to a certain degree. I'm sure they're well aware of the fact he's got $3,000.
Yeah. They know it's possible.
But it is a different rhythm to what most people would be used to. T-side straight into an AWP in their first gun round.
Speaking of different rhythms, very early on double mid presence to come through from Fossil and company. Danis comes out with a big one. Nicely done. Golden taken away, and look, Danis will start to back off as well, worried about his secondary lurk. He's seen this happen before. He's done it. Sapek exploring, can't find the frag. And it leaves JW up against X5. There is one player with that head armor, that's Danis, so X5 can feel marginally more safe against the Mac 10. But Pepsaw makes Vertigo, less. I keep calling him Vertigo accidentally. Pepsaw makes Vert a little bit less comfortable.
Sharing the same 4 letters as the start of this map. Space are getting a handle back on this though, even with some of the nice kills that the Eyeballers found on their default. Losing on these kills on the bomb side itself, and JW will fall as the last man remaining. It was already peppered up from some of those earlier fights, so only 1 bullet needed there from Fossil. First gun round here for Space, breaking straight into success.
Fossil and Danis have been really impressive across the entire game so far, and look, Space have generally looked quite good, but I was actually expecting X5 to be doing a little bit more of the lifting here and there. Fossil has also struggled a little bit recently in his run of form, so good to see that he is recovering on the map that is relatively newer to them. Saw a couple of loop-de-loops over there in that smoke lineup.
Yeah, they got it in the end.
And isn't that what matters?
Yeah. X5 was suspicious. I mean, with that smoke moving so late as well, thought maybe a player would sit inside of it. But that will not be the case. X5 instead will take up position and hope to go uncleared. But a cheeky boost up for JW does catch a pixel. I think Fossil knows that his position was somewhat given up, but also trying to serve as bait so that X5 does go uncleared. But they go out hard swinging. Nice flash to try and line that one up, and JW expecting the swing as well from ramp. So just like that, Team Space losing 2 players, probing over towards that that A side position. And just like Team Space were doing, a little bit of presence shown, a little skin over at one side of the map, and they start diverting towards the other.
How do you like them apples, huh? It's really annoying, isn't it, when you rotate over and you find no one side, huh?
Yeah, a little taste of your own medicine.
A lot earlier on, I will say, eyeballers don't wait till the last 14 seconds, but yeah. Should just be a safe call for the CT side.
And they don't wait until they have effectively no utility as well. You know, that was something that Space were doing quite frequently, is that they were throwing a lot of util over on A and then diverting back to B. It usually is like a last-ditch effort. This is far more... I think this is a more appreciable approach. You know, you've got options, you've still got time on the clock. You're just seeing if that bomb site is vacant, and they were right on the money. Space tried to sort of gamble, stack that A bomb site in an effort to hold on to it, but it's not like they didn't succeed in holding onto that A bomb site. That just simply wasn't the target.
I keep waiting for them to be able to have enough money to give down a C op. They can do that on the T side. Ooh, CT side opping could be real fun to watch.
Hey, you know what they always say? The op is much better on T side.
Yeah, they do always say that.
Yep.
Especially of Nuke, right? That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Opera's Playground, that's what the map's called, right? Yeah. Zappic and Golden want to get a quick double peek out. Nicely done. Zappic even trying to clear out the sandbags afterwards, just in case that was going to get double up to the sandbags. So they're being very careful.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that Fossil journeyed so late towards the sandbags is a massive red flag. You know, that's very indicative of, oh, I want to go and run this double sandbag setup. So I like that the eyeballers are being extra cautious about that, because the CTs could have got there if they went off of spawns, but they didn't. And they build up that setup a little too late. A very hazardous journey that Fossil tried to make. And X5 will journey into some hazards himself, playing between a smoke and a Molotov in from short, but hoping he doesn't get spammed, only for that to exactly happen to him.
It's so weird, the fact that X5 sticks around on the site when clearly the rest of his team have decided, you know what, we're going to go to B. If they rotate here, that's fine, otherwise, whatever. Like, you also don't have the kind of situation where you couldn't back off even after the first set of smokes come out. You could still go back to elevator. That's where he was peeking in from. So, yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know if they were just using him as a means to justify going for it or not. Like, if X5 came away with 2 kills and he went down, then I think Space probably still commit to the retake. So it might have been, hey, see what you can find. We'll come and try and win the round if you do come away with a multi-kill, and if not, then you've created an opportunity for us to hold on to these guns, and we can still reinvest into this following round. That's the convoluted logic I'm trying to, you know, at least create an argument for.
But I'm still not going to get an op on Dennis with that logic.
Yep, that is very true. Fossil this time will take his spawn straight towards those sandbags. But, well, Sappic nades it immediately. And Fossil will not be pleased.
Come on, JW. Looking for the gap in the smoke, but X5 has managed to navigate around it comfortably. So, always a risk to try and take the further back angle these days because of how wary oppers and even riflers are now. We saw a game where an AK spammed that player, which is kind of wild. Okay, that's a big risk for Danitz to take. Maybe he didn't see JW initially.
Yeah, I know he did. JW is an angle very far off to the sort of left side of ramp, which is kind of outside of Dana's visibility, but all meanwhile, Sapek has slipped on through from ramp. They did hear a rotate back, and this is a massive gap that Sapek could exploit. Just like that, Dana's taken down, and with that presence, you know, X5 is still an unseen element in from short and does sever them from actually scaling into this A bomb site. Even with all this deep position, they actually need to get the bomb over. And right now, X5 playing around those smokes, needed to get kill on to keep though, as that bomb carrier, Sapek, shadow advantage, catches Fozil, and just like that, the round combusts. Eyeballers cutting it close, but leveraging into that plant, and Trunic to save.
He barely got visibility on X5 over there because of the way the smoke was starting to fade away as well, and that's the only reason why Eyeball was able to get away with this. Otherwise, it felt like X5 had done so much to try and keep himself alive long enough to get the disruption and the extra kills. But yeah, Space again just don't feel like they can get onto the right spot at the right time, and now you're going to be looking at a 9-9 scoreline, equalizing with money not being great for you either in the next round. After being in the situations where you've saved 3 players now twice over with the rifles, you're still not going to be able to pull out the op, because that also means you're still buying into things. And I know I'm joking about, hey, I really want to see the Danis op, this and that, but with how powerful it was, realistically, it does feel like you're going to see a save coming out from Space up here. You're not going to see it come true for, what, the first 6 rounds of the game? Or, sorry, of the half?
Yeah, especially with the way that the ramp fights are kind of developing. You know, if you get a solid spawn, which I think that is something to factor in as well with Vertigo, is, you know, especially on CT sides, if you're going to take a peek in from short or even towards ramp, having a good spawn does matter quite significantly. Otherwise, T's can kind of get to that angle first with an AWP and hold you in position. You know, if they really are intent on fighting for ramp, then, you know, all you need is Danis to have one of those spawns, and he can get over to that short side angle where, you know, JW has been taking some liberties. You know, he's been exposing himself, hasn't just been playing the headshot box deep ramp. And that does become a favorable fight for a CT. Even the headshot angle can sometimes work against you as a T-sided player trying to hold in. There's so many different elevations you have to account for. But yeah, that won't be even something that the Eyeballers have to really worry about with the current buying patterns. I think now, though, that we've seen this half develop in the way that it has, with the Eyeballers coming back 5-1. You know, there will be enough money for Danis to explore that option next round. They didn't commit to a full buy here. It's all very B-centered here for Eyeballers, and there's only one defender on Team Space.
They've opted into the right side, that's for sure. Bert is also not really a defender because he doesn't have eyes, Michael, and I don't know if you know this, but that makes it really hard to defend.
Makes it a little difficult to play Counter-Strike.
Yeah, yeah. Good flashes, and again, this is the round they might want to... Are you seriously saving? I guess they have armor. They did buy down to about that 1400 mark, right? So at least there's that, I suppose. But it does just feel like we've now seen, what, 4 saves from Space so far? Maybe it's the 3rd. And again, all of these situations where you are not going to be dealing damage to the Eyeballers. You are not putting them in a situation where you can maybe try and make things easier for yourselves later on down the road. If you actually win a round or 2 in a row. Eyeballers look like they're going to have money for the rest of the game, pretty much, because of these decisions. 5 alive again. JW's on 10k. Golden's on 11k. Sapek's on 10k.
Yeah.
This is like the friends group in the university who only watch hustling and mindset videos on Instagram for 4 years straight.
Who hurt you?
Bro, I didn't have friends or Instagram in university. I'm just trying to be relatable.
This is too long ago. This is just anecdotes from somebody else.
Yeah, I'm a married man, Michael.
Seems you missed the preachings. Well, they do get that ult out into Danist's hands, but not actually able to take any of those deep fights so early on. In fact, playing from the sandbags and actually catching Sapek, trying to slip into 51 past the smoke. But inside the smoke himself, JW revealing, and Molotov does finish off Danist, who didn't move a muscle from those sandbags. Oh my goodness, Pepsor has perfect timing. Vert is lost. Has absolutely no clue that a mid-lurk could have been happening right before their very eyes. Team Space looked good in that T side, but CT has not been so fruitful. Airballs with a lot of good decisions and honestly exploiting some of the, I think, lack of officials work here for Team Space on this map.
Sure, there's definitely some of that coming into it as well, but yeah, once we've moved away from Space having the individual decision-making capabilities that I mentioned earlier on as well, Michael, it does feel like they have just been completely lost it. Yeah, some of that will come down to maybe not enough officials, but I do think a lot of CT side things are drilled out more in scrims and officials as well. CT side, the things in officials that do get certain, as we do see the actually Hunt coming in as well. Fossil is going to be probably brought down. The double nade will do to him what Golden's fell 3 times over. Well, twice actually, not 3. But yeah, Rob can even be recovered. There you go. In officials, it feels like on the CT side, it's more about trying to figure out, hey, there's a weird lurk that comes through over here. Maybe there's a timing we're missing and whatnot. Space are just not managing to figure out the plot of this game at all.
But that's how many times they've tried to play the sandbags from this CT since we've gone into the second half, and how many times has it been Molotov'd? And what they've not developed a protocol where somebody throws that smoke before the Molotov is kind of primed. It's a little perplexing. That's a change I think many teams would have made, or they would have stopped playing the sandbags altogether. Still, they would do well to find some success towards the end of this half. The Airball is creeping closer and closer to the finish line on Space's map pick. Zapik does actually force X5 out, but the spam looked to be lined up pretty successfully. They'll be unable to capitalize on X5 crossing just above that smoke. In fact, didn't even get a whiff of him, so
I thought I might be trying to threaten presence for so long over here. Oh, I quite like this play actually. Threaten presence long enough that they can set up the boost elsewhere. So if Sapek shows himself off, this is going to be a really troublesome position. He's already spotted Sapek initially, but the boost is being dismantled and they've made noise doing it as well. So X5 is going to now be expected potentially even with the second player here. Smokes out on A. Looking very troublesome, but again, another boost comes through. X5 trying to stay up on top, but the flashes are so good. They know what's going on over here. The full isolate out into short, and the backstab, rather the back turn from Fossil will be allowing him to get away. But guess who's in pursuit? It's Sapek again. Continuing his success that he has been having all game long. Finally, X5 reveals position, and this is where Heap needs to try and trace him down. CTs do not have a kit, and as Heap is just buying time, Space is being left without anything to do. Trunic will be forced to save. Maybe not allowed to, though.
yeah, a very difficult exit. JW will punish him on his jump back towards spawn. Things getting very chaotic for either squad. I mean, Space with 3 players behind all the util that Eyeballers have thrown down on the bomb site itself just to try and secure a plant, and they don't spam into the right positions, and you know, that's kind of credit to the Eyeballers going for a bit of an off-axis plant. Sapek running through the smoke as well to kind of prevent anyone from elevator actually spamming the plant that the Eyeballers went for. So, you know, good, this sort of adaptation, understanding that they didn't have short control, but they also didn't have enough time to fully flush out that position if they feel comfortable to. Definitely some promise from space on this map. But here on C2, they just haven't been able to get it together, like you said, just playing totally off rhythm to what the eyeballers are presenting them.
Vert getting caught off by Heap again. This is getting, well, I wouldn't say quite repetitive, but he's been having his troubles ever since the swap over as well. JW finds Fuzzle, and Team Space is just falling apart one by one. It's going to end up being a late retake back towards A. X5 is at least going to be trying to put himself in a newer position. Maybe we'll go by Uncleared. Headshot for Sapek. Given out. Easy peasy. But with that, the reroute back to B as well is called. Tronic has read this incorrectly. And it's time for Eyeballers to make the commitment. Now making noise as well. Trunic trying to rotate back, but by the time he does, Dennis is already a dead man. X5 and Trunic will have very little to offer over here. Golden is just picking up frags, and X5 has been relegated to waiting for his own demise.
Yes, it's been a tough coming down to earth here from Team Space. I mean, they were in orbit after that first half, but the second half completely floored. The Eyeballers open up the series with a nice little steal over Team Space on their map selection in this series. And have to say, I was a little bit suspicious and a little bit concerned with the player that we decided to keep our eyes on for, but hey, JW did really come alive towards the middle part of this game, and towards the end as well, able to find quite a lot because of these dramatic over-rotations from the Eyeballers, and that is certainly a weakness that could have been exploited, but I do think that there is quite a lot of dependency to find those gaps that they just won't be able to rely on the same here on Ancient. Like, if they're going to bound between bomb sites as frequently as they did on Vertigo, Eyeballers are going to be more keenly aware of that possibility. But we're going to have to wait to see whether or not that actually happens. Of course, I'm talking more about Team Space on their T side, and they start CT moving into the Eyeballers map pick.
Space are getting very aggressive early in, though, and X5's already found the first. Eyeballers got completely off guard, and X5 even makes it too. Nice little double pop fade away.
Yeah, they did the run boost to get him onto the ledge so quick, and the Eyeballers were certainly not ready for that. Straight away in the pistol round. Two players that got sidelined instantly.
It still will be a full B-sided execute. They still do keep the utility players alive, so maybe at least you can guarantee yourself a bomb plant, get yourself a bit more money going into the next one, pull out those Galils. That's going to be the priority. Winning the round will be more difficult, but hey, a couple of kills would go a long way, and with X5 and Fuzzle both still being low, the Glocks could quickly try and equalize. The problem will be Space coming in, all five from CT spawn. This will be assisted by a flashbang to peek forward for Zapek. Spots out their intentions, but with four players on the other side, Zapek was never living through that one. Pepsor and Golden are now looking for money, and although there's some to be cashed in, a bit more found, the kit is there for Vert, and the defuse will come out at the end of the day. Golden even looking for a knife around, so yeah, he knows his priorities.
Eke out as much as you could out of that round as possible, and turned out to be not much more than that. I mean, the Eyeballers were fighting down two men from the very get-go, so for them to have made it as close as that was certainly a concern, but yeah, Space, four-man long swing. You know, the Eyeballers were actually very keen on fighting for that position when they realized that they were heavily outnumbered. Did still find an isolated fight, but had to give up their position in actually protecting that bomb. Oh, that's a curious smoke that's bloomed above Sapek.
It's called an umbrella, I'll have you know.
Yeah, that's not how that's supposed to go. I love that we have all the technologies of volumetric smokes, but they still have a maximum falling distance.
Yeah. MacMates actually made a very cool video on some great smokes and dust too, in case anyone wants to go check them out. There's still some one-ways apparently possible because of that maximum fall distance. That's cool to see. Vert, though, clearing out red room. Sapek gets one, looking for more, and, well, Heap is happy to deliver. With the smoke on the other side of red room, now it's going to be an isolated fight up against Trunic. That's what you'd hope, but in the meanwhile, X5 has once again struck true. Only True Nick on A. And he is playing this very conservatively, does not want to reveal his position for any reason whatsoever. Heap, in the meanwhile, is going to continue picking up frags like it's grocery. From tap, Trunic reveals. Nice double tap with the MP9, even the long-range dink onto Heap, but it's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, a really nice attempt there from Trunic, all things considered. That was a very odd position to be in, a 1-on-3, where, yeah, the plant could have actually happened, but a nice clean kill, and a chance for a second as well. Listen, so far, so good here for the eyeballers, even though that does get a little bit hectic. Of course, they're able to combat back after losing the pistol round, straight in with a force buy, which Space will probably not be the most pleased with. Yeah, this could have been a nice jump start to the engine for them after losing their own map pick.
Oh my goodness, Trunic just going in, immediately finding 2 kills with the 5-7, shooting past the grenade as well, and with the AK recovered, bomb isolated. Heap's got a lot to do, and he's shed the burden on his shoulders, but that comes with his head rolling off as well.
Well, not what I was expecting at all. I mean, a complete takeover from Trunic, you're absolutely right. Even gave that AK over to healthier hands. Clearly the 5-7 was able to do him enough justice that he's comfortable conceding that weapon. JW will have to kind of create space here. His teammates so separated, Pepsor spreading out, and JW looking the wrong way. Not sure that in the 2v4 spreading was the play, but it's the path the Eyeballers decide to take, and Trunic will finish it off with a 4K straight away with another 5-7 in hand. He's able to immediately turn it round its head.
Vert also picks up the MAC-10 as well, so you basically have 4 weapons taken forward into the next one, all of which are pretty viable. Eyeballers coming through with a very low buy, 2 players without armor, 1 player without head armor. Vert could be deadly.
I have to say, after immediately force buying and winning the round on the Eyeballer side, for them to immediately swing elbow like that against another force buy is pretty outrageous to me. See a lot of heavy mid utility, a lot of, you know, B-sided stacks for pistols. Hell, even full A plays when they're down those numbers, and you know that utility was very well placed from Space. Nice opening kill at the start of this round as well. A challenge off from ledge. Eyeballers on their attempt to force back again. Losing numbers, and a slow creep here from Pepsor that finds absolutely nothing. Down to 2 are the Eyeballers, and not finding a lot of success on their counter force.
Yeah, Eyeball was having some of these issues over in Vertigo as well in the first half, where on the force buys they weren't finding anything. In fact, well, Heap is finding something. He's finding Legend. Unfortunately, the Legend is on his own team. Now 1 versus 4 for Heap. Will be caught out, spotted out. Good for the first kill. Looks for a bit more damage, and head spotted, but Fossil there to take him out with a flank from A mid.
Well, finally the Force by Wars comes to a close. The Eyeballers will have to bend the knee. All in honor of Team Space getting a handle back on their CT side. Vert even just sticking with the 5-7, knowing that they're likely up against these pistols. And he's cheating. He's got head armor.
Damn. How dare he?
Oh, okay. That was very close.
This isn't really enough though, Michael, and with JW coming in from behind, recovering the AK, he also knows that Vert might be moving closer and closer himself. Now in a 3-on-3, every single player on both teams is incredibly isolated and very confused. Golden, one of the sources of confusion, as he has managed to walk back over in the A side. Trunic is going to be caught off, but, well, Golden's looking elsewhere, so I guess not.
Yeah, and Vert finding JW as well on his lurk over towards B. So there's not even really a fallback path or a plan B there for Sapek. Had to try and get something done on that A bomb site with the bomb on his back, and will struggle to do so. Use space, keep it under wraps. Alright. It's a little later than usual, but full gun round versus full gun round. Finally coming to play, but an AWP that won't be contested. The other side, the Eyeballers not having the funds to be able to pull that one together. No one able to drop it, even if they wanted to. Danis going for a long side peek, one off a boost as well over at B, but not staying with that for very long.
We are getting to see a lot more of this, just 3 smoke middle setup on Ancient these days, and okay, it's great for denying information, but it does make things very tricky when you're actually trying to get onto a bomb site later on, and when you want to re-smoke Red Room on the life as well. Danis spots out the one. Golden will be wanting to re-smoke Red Room now. The T's don't really want to contend against the AWP without one of their own.
Did I miss the Red Room smoke? I didn't feel like it was bloomed so perfectly, but they do find the head of Vert, and Trunic as well, full cleared. Nice methodical work here from Sapek, carving a path towards this A bomb site. Second smoke down toward Red to make amends for the first. But since they have this man advantage, going to feel comfortable to converge on this A play. But they're still kind of spread out, waiting to see if they can cut off rotates or even sever in the back lines. JW sliding in through Red. So from 5-on-3 to 5-on-2, likely a safe call here from space.
Might not be allowed though. X5 knows that JW is going to be coming in from behind him. JW, however, not JW, sorry, Pepsor, however, is going to be the risk to anyone who wants to save. He's gone all the way back towards the B site. Can soon take over JW's responsibilities, or maybe even pair up with him and go for a double peek into middle. X5 starts shooting at shadows, and that means that Pepsor is likely to be catching him off guard. He is feeling jumpy though. If he can get the quick little adjustment, that would be nice, but JW is a menace. Continues to show off his shadow, and X5 is shooting at Ghost.
A breakthrough there from the Eyeballers, and I think coming to terms as well with space and how willing they are to fight towards ledge and, you know, jump up towards that position either from mid or try and swing it from cave. That's been very much a priority in quite a few rounds here from space. All smokes down, like I said, these 3 smokes set up inside of mid, but they try and flash for it, and Sapek's able to dodge, find the head, and immediately ascend in towards cave. Maybe a chance for another kill. Sapek has been good on these entries so far.
It's interesting that X5 gets information about 2 players coming over, and you can see Space trying to reinforce into Red Room. They've been threatened from there so many times, and they said, you know what, if it's a cave side hit, then X5 can defend long enough. Let us clear mid first and foremost. They think they've done it, but Golden still lies in wait right at the bottom of elbow. It's going to be a 1-by-1 peek, and Golden's good for the first. Damage onto second as well. And as Fossil will start to climb up, that's where Sapek needs to look to trade, and he will do so. Threat is established. Danis will neutralize it, but it's still a 2 versus 3. The bomb, very committed to the B side. X5 position is very annoying as well. Could be making a quick job of this. Shadow spotted as well. Back to a 2-on-2, and Heap is nowhere nearby. He's still up to his lurking duties. JW, now with X5's position revealed, will be asking for Heap to come over. They're rerouting to A.
And Danis is ahead of the play. Already setting himself up inside of Temple where he can deny the plant. He could even catch them off before they set up safely. Gun not drawn there from JW and heads taken clean off. He'll be able to get the trade right back and get his hands on that package as well. But very suspicious that X5 would have been in hot pursuit and could have flanked in from Donut as well. X5 going to be loud about his approach, but outside of earshot, Heap not really wise to those antics, but definitely suspicious.
Reroute backwards. Temple Heap wants to try and pick up the late round position. X5 doesn't have a kit either. Makes things a lot easier for Heap as he will be clearing things out, and X5 taken down. Nice adjustment from space. I really do like the reinforce into middle where they do just continue fighting up, even if the spacing's a bit questionable, I'll be honest. That being said, Eyeballer still, once again, the late round is theirs for the taking.
Yeah, the important thing there for space is just making sure that they are the ones making the play. You know, that's, you know, they're not just simply waiting around for Eyeballers to compose their execute. They're very much taking the initiative in that moment, and like you said, you know, they're in kind of great positions to trade, even if the spacing is a little wonky. Definitely put Eyeballers and threw them in for a bit of a loop. But gotta say, hats off to X5, even though he doesn't convert the full clutch. Did a lot to give space options in that round. Great routing on his hold. This isn't a round that we're expecting too much in from space. Down to pistols they are.
You never know, though.
Now this time they're lacking the same stopping power, the same armor.
I mean,
yeah, they're definitely still lacking all of those things.
You're saying this, but X5's got a 5-7 close range, and there's two players who want to test Sheeta. X5, good for one. Golden's the one that tips the scales back a little bit more even and now in their favor elsewhere, but yeah. Had he been taken down, you could have been eating your words.
Oh, they were definitely still lacking.
Damn. That's so hard to make you wrong.
Yep. I was prepared to be. But such is life, such is the tragedy of me. I'm right again.
When you're done, you know, using up all the tissue crying about that one because of how tragic it is, we also have to remember this is a lot of really good damage found from space as well. It's not like Eyeballers have been able to really reaffirm their economy at any given point, so if space are able to turn things around over here, get 2 rounds in a row, this could still end up being a cascade in their favor.
Yeah, I think regardless of how this half goes, both teams are going to be pretty disappointed that, you know, with the turbulent start we had with, you know, 4 spies going back either which way, that had either of them had been able to take control of that situation, that they could have had a much more well-defined advantage coming out of this half. But here we sit sort of neck and neck. But once again, these AWPs are not going to come out at the same time. JW has one of his own, and Trunic gets taken down by the quick ascent from Sapek. Didn't have the same coverage inside of middle. It seemed to be kind of miscommunicated there from space, because Trunic sent his whole life out, but no one was there to cover.
Oh my god, how many times have we seen Eyeballers get full control of Red Room, finally space, fight back for it. They're able to recover it, bring it back to a 4-on-4. X5 pushes through, makes it 3. He's been doing a fantastic job all game long, playing in from cave, maintaining that massive threat. Eyeballers back to a 2-on-4, might even start to think about a save if they don't find a kill soon. There's a lot to take forward.
Yeah, this probably should be a save call, but knowing the Eyeballers, knowing JW, he won't do so until he's forced to. He's still probing, still hoping to find somebody here on space, but a jump that's made, I'm not sure if JW would have been close enough to hear it. It would have been very, very light. Definitely heard that step.
They're trying to line up the pre-fire. JW finds the first, and with that, there's only one player to deal with on this side. Smoke out to left, and JW will be cut off, not expecting Fawzil nearby. The bomb plant guaranteed, but the round is going to be almost impossible. Double swing planned out from Fawzil on X5. Heap needs to isolate these duels. Looking to pull out Util, decides against it, can't even get the one. It's a nice start from JW, but can't get the read on the second frag, otherwise it's going to very quickly devolve into a 2-on-2.
Yeah, that's just one of those instances as well where they try to do as much as they can with a little, but you know, playing it slower in that scenario or trying to move towards a cutoff to the rotate is fairly greedy. You know, to come with the assumption that there was only one defender on that B bomb site. And sure, you know, solo defense from long and trying to sort of jiggle that angle isn't totally unusual, but there was even a chance that on the Molotov that they tried to throw over towards cave, they could have been swung as well. You know, there are a few opportunities for that to go wrong, and well, one of them did actually come to life. They were really trying to, and really just hoping that Space were going for one of these sort of mid-round aggressive plays again, even in the advantage. I think that's probably the justification for it, expecting that they weren't defending the ball sites themselves. A little misread, but they were at a hefty disadvantage anyway, so once again, Space coming away with quite a few of these opening duels, and they've been able to find quite a lot of consistency from these mid and B fights, in all honesty, whether it's been, you know, fights over towards ramp or outside of Cheetah.
Yeah.
Mid has been a little bit more turbulent for Space, but even though they're losing it in the early round, they're very frequently finding a kill in the mid to late.
Feels like that's the case. Oh,
like the boost.
Nice boost, but he can't get the adjustment fast enough. Dennis has been playing a little bit closer in, maybe with the double scope, wouldn't actually been able to spot the player out on top, but I wouldn't repeat that until I've tested it. But despite a lot of these chaotic rounds, it does feel like that force buy that Space One has just consistently been what's propped them up long enough for them to get these adjustments back in their own favor. Eyeball is now relegated to 4 with Space guaranteed for 6, maybe even more after it. And in fact, not even finding really much damage over here, so no consolations whatsoever.
Yeah, Team Space losing to the second round force is more excusable than Eyeballers losing to the third round force. Because winning pistol and then losing the force buy is kind of the worst case scenario, and you come in with a lot less than what your opponents are going to have, so... Yeah, it's definitely what got the engines roaring. Team Space already set up with 6. See if the Eyeballers can make it as close an end to the half as the contest has really provided. We've seen some ups and downs from either squad thus far. Not a very traditional start here from the Eyeballers. Once again, 3 mid smokes down. Trying to creep close to that red room where they have been punished quite a few times over, but Sapek's taken a slightly different route.
Well, that route's taken him straight underground, but will be able to get the frag fast enough, otherwise Sapek could have had a free 2. Vert can't get the second himself either, and with the deep Molotov, they're hoping to flush out the CTs long enough to get this bomb run going, but with a quick dink, Vert doesn't get the follow-up. Trunic in the meanwhile collects on the golden, JW stays low. JW will be looking to turn back and maybe even come through with the mid flank later on. The question is that going to be permissible? It's all up to Heap to buy space and time, and with the flashbang revealing the CT presence, Heap is going to be able to spot Danis, but with the legs showing, Danis can quickly pre-fire him. Have the angle advantage, at least Pepzor and JW. JW will be incredibly late to this round, and CTs are prioritizing the defuse early on will be a problem for him, and, well, for the rest of Eyeballers, they just decide to say, what? I am very surprised.
I think because of the plant, JW was just hoping that they actually weren't sticking the defuse. But I think Pepsor had to swing.
Yeah.
But
Also, there wasn't time for them to defuse if they didn't stick at that point. There was only about 9 seconds left on the clock.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they just were just saving, because this buy is not exactly anything to write home about.
Well, hopefully they can write home and tell Mom they got 5 rounds at the very least. She might be disappointed otherwise. Danis' adjustment will not matter. Still manages to find Heap. And in the meanwhile, Fozil's gone ahead and got an aggressive again. Eyeballers looking to end up on the same score as they did on Vertigo with the way things are going. Space will not be losing a man in this round. Not yet. Unless the spam from Pepsor can come through. And, well, it can't.
Just getting met at the gates. Barely get much space over towards that B ramp, and so Team Space once again coming in with an advantage out of this first half. Let's see if it paints the same story as the first after the break.
Same scoreline as the previous map. I don't think we're going to see it repeated later on, though. Space are looking much more convincing, and they've activated some key players. X5 looking very good in the first half.
Yeah, making eyeballers have to go for a lot of these awkward decisions towards the ends of rounds, whether they're in 2 versus 4s, or if they're in 2 versus 4s, you know, one of them being in a post plant, the other actually having to fish for kills and get themselves into a potentially round-winning scenario. You know, eyeballers struggle to find those clever solutions towards the end, but 4 is enough to still sort of come back into this game with. And I think I had quite a few questions about whether or not the Team Space would be able to find the same exploits that they sort of made use of on Vertigo. Of course, Vertigo, much more of a rotation-heavy map, but with the way that eyeballers were trying to continuously exploit the same thing coming out of that first half, you know, trying to get into red and sever the rotates. I imagine there will be a few tricks also thrown to teams thrown in by Team Space rather. They're going to try and make use of those same sort of flanking, late lurking positions. But we saw them kind of fall into that tendency on Vertigo as well.
Eyeballers know what's going on, though, Michael. It is going to be a B-side hit coming through from Team Space, and Eyeballers are very ready with numbers. Those numbers, though, can't get numbers. JW good for the first one. Now Trunic traded. Sapik continues to try and get things done with the double pistols, but all he's done is damage. Now, fortunately for him, Golden and Pepsol will be compensating for his lack of kills, but meanwhile, X5 is looking to go back to his old hunt. Heap behind the smoke, using it as a one-way, looking very good as well. Gets it all done. Heap up to 14 for the map.
Yeah, very cheeky angle there from Heap towards the end, and especially, you know, Space were trying to throw out the idea that, oh, well, we've stopped going for our B-side execute. You have to now worry about the potential of an A-side attack, and kind of hope that the eyeballers might have vacated slightly, but Heap able to keep a handle on it. And the eyeballers taking that pistol now just have to dodge, losing out any of these following rounds. And we'll be right back into a similar story as Vertigo.
Well, that's about as good as it gets, yeah. All the control back towards lane, 2 kills with it as well. Yeah, just making sure that you don't get domed out by the Deagles and can build up the cash when you're going in for 3 SMG buy.
Yeah, not going to have quite as much punch this second round out of the pistol as the eyeballers were able to have in the first half. Of course, no bomb plants down for Space, so, you know, you don't get the options of Galils and SMGs. Don't get to have armor for your fights, so I think the big avoidance that they'll want to do is make sure that they don't give up too many kills to these SMGs. Last time, JW got an ace with a MAC-10, and that's a whole lot of cash. An extra 3k out of a round, and then you're going to go into your first gun round with still an SMG, and you can treat it as a bonus. Most of the time you're trying to screw with CT money, not give them it.
Come on. Oh, wow. Okay, Trunic. He is screwing with it, apparently. Meanwhile, X5 is making it back over. He's only got a Glock, though. Not really a threat. And, well, threat number 1 eliminated. Number 2 low, and Heap is really the only threat in the round. And, to be honest, kind of the only threat for Eyeballers so far when you look across the numbers.
Yeah, this has been a very solid map from him. I hadn't even realized how many kills he'd really had. You know, coming away with the pistol, where he was able to find 2 and now 3 as well here against the Glocks. So maybe some slight empty calories. The pistol rounds are obviously very important, so he may be coming online towards the CT side, and oh my goodness, Golden catching them out with util deployed. Fuzzle was trying to hold for this push, but completely overwhelmed, and they've caught another as well on the spam from JW.
I don't think they were completely ready for how fast that Golden Peak was going to come through with the MP9, just completely overwhelming them. And in a 5-on-3, Trunic's also been tagged up initially by a bit of spam. Sapik is trying to be the hidden man behind Case. If they want to retake this one, Sapik is just trying to buy a little bit more space. Heap, flash at the ready for Sapik to peek for himself. Heap is just hoping to cover off the cross for a while longer. But Golden still on the bomb side. He will want to try peeking into Trunic. Gets the advantage over there as well. It feels like Space are finding absolutely nothing. This really does seem to be a repeat of Vertigo so far, and I'm very surprised.
Yeah, it is feeling awfully reminiscent. And maybe getting some flashbacks as well here on the Space camp.
Oh, there's a Space camp? I always used to read about Americans going to space camp and the sound was like, oh my god, that's the coolest thing ever.
They go to camp in space.
Yeah, no, apparently it wasn't the thing.
Yeah, it's,
but
not, it's not as cool as that, but they do still, they do still go to, like ground control and things like that. It's kind of cool. You can see retired space shuttles.
I wish we could do like that as adults without looking weird.
Oh, you definitely can. People love space.
Listen, I love space over here as well, and I hope that they do a little bit more with the saved, or rather, the rebought AK that they've given Vert. But you know what they say, one small bullet for an eagle, one giant spray from an AK, and you still might not get the kills.
You know what they say, everyone's got eyeballs.
Not everyone's an eyeballer.
That's reserved for a select few.
He, up until 4 seconds ago, was an eyeballer, and he has now... Well, he might not even have eyeballs anymore. Shot of the head. JW forcing to push forward. Good for 1. Make it 2. And couldn't make it 3 because he's worried for good reason. X5 circles around, gives him the illusion of security, and then takes that right back away. Pepsor in the meanwhile. Timing could not be worse for him. And now Golden has to make a play into the Tech 9. It's never easy, but for Golden, it might as well be.
Yeah, 2v2, but no one able to actually capitalize or take any space while Golden was known about over at B, so very hesitant to continue pursuing in that direction, but X5 will start to make his way over, rendezvous up with Fossil, who's now moved into Cheetah where Golden was last seen. But as they start to creep further and further forward, they will realize that Golden has vacated this side of the map. 15 seconds. Space will have the freedom to plant. Molly definitely does not go where they had planned for it. Hoped that it'd land deep DT, and that will not sever the rotates whatsoever. Get available on a flash as well here on Golden. Fossil has to hit a shot as he fights up close, but X5's the one that actually fights back and does damage onto Fossil as well. They lined up, but they now commit to a double swing, and fortunately enough for X5, he doesn't execute his teammate because that double swing was going to be very hard for the Eyeballers to battle back with. Team Space navigate out with some great kills from X5.
Very nicely done. Some great timings being caught in middle as well, with Pepsor's demise being guaranteed like it. So you love to see the fact that he's managed to transfer that form from the first half into the second. Always a worry for me about players who are doing particularly well playing on a position on CT side.
And also just well communicated as well that they were going to double swing the same angle both times over.
Oh no, Trunic looks away, and this time he's the one getting timing in middle.
Yeah, tried walking through those flames using the smoke. And that is one of the disadvantages of being able to see past it, is that you know that flashes are coming. And you could retreat into the smoke if you so pleased, but hope that nobody would actually commit to the fight there on the Eyeballers. A man advantage found out of that mid-fight. And the Eyeballers are pretty content with the amount of space they've got. You see Sapek still kind of holding a deep angle at elbow, while the Eyeballers as well still have forward position at B. Molotov deployed there from space to flush out all these close angles by those doors at the B side, but I mean, that's just the freest kill for Sapek. Really good that he was able to maintain his presence over at elbow, and he's even walking through and into the smoke. This is really dangerous. Vert's holding for exactly this play. A good man advantage for the Eyeballers, now ceded to a 3-on-4, and Team Space have been good in scenarios like this.
At the very least, they've got information of the bomb with it, but yeah, Sapek did feel like he overstepped a little bit over here. Pepsor spots out 2 players in middle as well. All he has to do is try and reinforce the A-bomb, slightly splitting into a 2-0-2 setup, and you always have to be worried about this bomb if you're on the space side. Molotov interrupt them from planting. There's another one behind it. JW has ended the round.
Yeah, this is the most forced save you will probably ever see. Space were so intent on going into this A-bomb side and getting that planted, and they did have a smoke to actually disperse that Molotov, but I think they realized that maybe a second or 2 seconds too late, and they don't want to just start journeying through that smoke and just seed their guns. You know, these aren't classic gunfights, and they probably would have needed that smoke as well for the security of the plant. So really nicely handled from the Eyeballers to have kept those Molotovs in their possession and able to deploy them in such a late round moment where space were headed.
Sapek also actually managed to keep his smoke till very, very late, so that's quite nice to see. That's one of the reasons why X5 was caught out by it, so yeah. Good utility management overall. Look at the amount of utility being used by the T side though. Your minimap has 5 smokes on it from the T's, 2 from the CTs. They have tried to lock them out of every feasible angle, and X5 with the Mac 10 is going to be hoping that he can get the advantage on a peak later on. Everyone on Eyeballer's side do have head armor. Heap missing out on a timing. Looked like Dennis could have been cut off, but without any utility available, X5 is really the only one you've got any hopes in for. Good for the one. Steps back into a Molotov, but that didn't spread out to him completely earlier on, so he's always had a bit more solace than you'd like.
Oh, he can't escape. Heap still holding onto his position in that Cheetah. Does get overwhelmed, but there's a deep angle here from JW, but he gets immediately floored. Wonderful shot in from Trunic. Golden has cheated past the short, but Trunic very well aware of that possibility. Once again, Trunic coming in with heroics here for Team Space, and Eyeballers are hoping that Pepsor can deliver some kind of a knockout punch to the second win that this Team Space seem to have in these man disadvantages.
He's got a flashbang, no kit. Round is effectively done. He's given up his position as well with a little bit of a footstep, revealing where he was. Eyeballers will be right back onto the eco. Now, Molotov not spreading to X5 is really unfortunate over there, though. The fact that he's able to get that first kill in the middle was completely unexpected. Eyeballers, they thought they'd cleared that one out with the flames.
Yeah, and it makes a difference as well because it just pulls more players away from the sites itself. You know, JW has to effectively worry about the possibility of this player creeping up from ramp, and you know the likeliness is as well that could have been utility deployed by the T's, but it was just a dry fight from Trunic as well towards the end. These are all just things you have to consider and have to constantly look out for as an AWPer, even if you want to try and hold what you deem to be a safe angle. All of that affects you on the fight. But Team Space are feeling pretty unaffected by the Eyeballers' defense. Of course, only on pistols into this round, so slapping them upside the head while they've clearly got a size and weaponry advantage.
Come on, you know that Golden Deagle. I was actually joking. Wow, Golden, you do have that Deagle.
Yeah, I mean, he knows. You claimed to know, and yet we're somehow still surprised.
In fact, speaking of surprise, I'm surprised that Heap doesn't hit that one with the P250. Generally pretty good on those long range ones. Oh, beautiful stuff. Okay. You know what? Next time I'm going to say it unironically.
To be honest, I thought the first time was unironically, and then you were like, oh, huh. Wasn't expecting that. And they weren't expecting Heap to slip through that smoke, but Trunic still collects. Pretty costly round here from Team Space, but they are inching closer and closer to the finish line as they hope to steal away the Eyeballers map pick, as Eyeballers did to them in the first. This time Team Space came into this half once again with that 8-4 lead, but although the Eyeballers came out the gate swinging, Team Space not deteriorating in this map the same way they did on Vert. Wonder what the call is gonna be here from the Eyeballers. Because it's not like they haven't been finding advantages. I think that's probably been the worst part for them, is that they're getting themselves into these man-up situations, and each and every time, even if the team space aren't always winning the rounds, they are being given chances to. They're being given options to close out these moments. It's only really that round where the Eyeballers had these late round Molotovs that kind of forced team space to save.
Eyeballers are also in a position where you're really hoping that JW and Pepsor can get activated, and sure, JW just hasn't had that much action on the CT side in positions where you'd really put it down to him, but we're really not seeing enough from this A side of things, and you'd start to hope for maybe aggression, maybe a fast rotation, reinforcement from middle, something like it, but nothing of the sort actually coming in. Also moves for his own Molotov, and is tickled. Nade as well, but just enough that he's going to be in that one-day territory for the M4s. Zapik continuing to contest. Is wild though, trying to find players with utility in their hands. Golden is the one to actually finish the kills off. Trunic brought down low, and in the meanwhile, B site was left vacant. Now comes out the re-aggression into mid from A that we were hoping for. Pepsor has been caught out on the timing many times over, and this time Danis holding down the angle, good for one, but at least JW will trade.
Once again, a man advantage. Doubling up from long as well. Just hoping that they can overwhelm on these fights. Golden, first one that reveals, and he's the one on that low HP. Should be the one that continues to take challenges, but by the time that Team Space actually start to make progress on this B-bomb site, they will already anticipate an extra man in defense. They are still contesting for this. They are still giving this a good old college try here on space. Molly down. That should prevent the planting. Golden trying to slip through the cracks. Oh my goodness. Golden didn't realize that he was revealed, but X5 in the chaos realizes that he steps into the flames as well. That's a critical fight to win, because now X5 left on very little health in a 1-on-3 has chances dwindling.
Damage is also very important for X5. He realizes that, so even if he wants to try and play in for the late round and just try and get a spam kill, bomb is planted for it. The problem is he's likely to be spammed right back. Now, they know he hasn't made the crossover. JW watching up for it. Should be an easy one for him to connect on. That's what you're hoping. X5, though, can't line it up, so CTs will maintain the minimum 3 alive, but yeah. Gets slightly scary when Golden can't find that frag. Heap, however, has always been good for at least one in the round, and he delivers it at the most crucial point.
Yeah, it's not so much that Golden didn't get away with that frag. He just couldn't even get out of the smoke. That was the worst part about it. They just kind of seeded over and gave over an absolutely free frag. And I guess, you know, if X5 hadn't, in getting so caught off guard by, I think, Golden jump scaring him, had he not been jump scared into the Molotov, I think there is a real fighter's chance. You know, he didn't want to take any straight-up gunfights because he knew he didn't have health to trade. X5 has definitely been more lively here on Ancient than on Vertigo. Yeah, just again one of these scenarios that didn't feel very comfortable for the Eyeballers, even though they had this man advantage, even in the 1 versus 3. I think what's really missing, and what maybe I really miss about Swedish Counter-Strike, is the undeterred confidence that we used to see.
Just the swings, man.
Yeah. And listen, I know a lot of that comes from being at the top of the circuit for as long as they were at the start of CSGO. I understand that's where the confidence comes from. But
it's not even just CSGO, right? It's also like 1.6 for about 10, 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, I miss that extra bite that Swedish Counter-Strike used to give. And especially at the start of CS2, I was actually kind of hoping that we'd see a bit of a resurgence of that, because swinging became that much stronger, you know? But
The thing is, for Swedish Counter-Strike, it's not even only swinging and whatnot, right? It's also like, for CSGO especially, because I wasn't around for 1.6, but the kind of clutch factor these players used to have was insane.
yeah, it was the ballsy plays as
Yeah.
well that were being made. It wasn't always just about going for these haphazard, crazy, wild gunfights. It was, you know, kind of throwing caution to the wind in certain moments.
I mean, you think back to some of Flush's iconic clutches, half of them start with him just saying, you know what, I don't really want to save. I'm just going to walk and see if I can walk into this side. And if I can, I'll win it from there.
Yeah. If they give me an inch, I'll take a mile. But right now, when Space are in these man-down situations, I am sensing quite a bit of fear. And, you know, justifiably so with how many rounds have been needlessly close when they've had those advantages, but I would like to see them just punish. Maybe swing with a bit more confidence to them. Well, it does seem like this technical timeout that we have is going to last a little bit longer than expected, so we are going to throw ourselves to a break before we find the conclusion of Ancient, but we'll be back just after this.
Thank you and welcome back. When we left you off, Eyeballers had just picked up a round, and now Eyeballers have just picked up an advantage. You know how this one goes. Space is about to win the round.
Don't say that.
Alright, I won't. The good thing for Eyeballers is Heap. And yeah, that's the end of it. That's a very good thing. 23 and 11 so far. He has been untouchable on the server. X5 trying to keep up, but really, who can? You can't spell Heap without he, Michael. And he is always him.
Yeah. That's some of your work.
I wish it wasn't. Good work from Eyeballers, though, being able to get themselves back up to double digits. And Space's money is still not in the best place, so you're going to be playing up against a weaker buy overall.
Yeah, nice to come away from that tech as well and just come in with a clean round. Especially when that has been far from the case in some of the previous outings thus far. So this is coming down to the wire here on Ancient. A nice little bounce back, but a missed smoke inside of Elbow. That's a great little tap pre-fire there from Sapek, just as he was trying to keep tabs and force them away from that angle.
Even find so much space, he's going to be able to try and close the distance quickly. If he wants to give Heap some cover fire. Molotov out towards the backup. Golden will hold down the line as well. He's had a decent game, all things considered. And Peps are also now getting involved. Vert with an AK will be pulling out Util right as JW peaks. 11 to 11 Eyeballers giving themselves a nice little run of rounds.
Yeah, and a team ace as well there from the Eyeballers. Everyone getting involved, finding some nice early aggression at the start of this round. I mean, Sapek's kill was the most disgusting of them all, but Eyeballers were able to very quickly ascend and contest over towards B, where Team Space were just trying to get a little bit of leverage, a little bit of control.
Is there going to be another aggressive push coming up from Heap? I certainly hope so. Sapek's nade will make X5 reconsider his pathing. Flashes are good. He knows on Sapek that X5 has been prioritizing many times over, trying to get that red room control. This round will be no different. They might relegate Pepsor to X5 duty, but in the meanwhile, only JW has to be careful that he doesn't get backstabbed. But no, they're not fully aware of this one. Pepsor is on X5 duty, but X5 is really going to be able to... What? By nothing. Trunix also put himself into red room. They weren't expecting the two-man push through, and now it comes down to Heap looking to get the retake in. Middle is where Sapek is looking for another duel. If they can find Danis, at least it brings back to a 3-on-3, but before that, Pepsor's already been eliminated. A kill that probably should have come through a lot earlier on, and despite the initial heartbreak, Space will still put themselves on map point.
I was flabbergasted in multiple ways in this round. One, that, you know, it wasn't being picked up by JW over towards the B-bomb site to actually cover that red cross. Then Pepsor wins his duel, and then all of a sudden Trunix is right behind this potential flank in through spawn. You know, that this round took so many twists and turns, but once again Trunix is coming in with a massive multi-frag to secure another round here for Team Space. I don't know what to think. I really thought Eyeballers were going to keep tabs on it because it's like the exact same play that they were going for. They saw the three smokes that were assembled by the T's, very akin to what they were doing themselves on their T side. And sure, Pepsor did go around to swing it, go in to check it, and, you know, because he swings so wide, it kind of catches X5 off guard because he thinks he's hit a timing. But yeah, it felt like the adaptation or the defense had to plug up those holes a lot faster than they did. Team Space fully exploiting that. Finding themselves at map points before the Eyeballers. Nice kill from X5, but the flashes are so good that everyone's blind. And X5 knows that he saw another one just before he was hit with that ailment. Nice nade onto Pepsor. Heap trying to close that gap and bail his teammate out, but Golden's pushing in, and they weren't ready for it whatsoever. In with a double kill, but now they know to accelerate into this B bomb site.
Golden continues to find success on B, and Heap still being alive is a huge threat. They can't peek into him, and Heap has decided to neglect the site itself completely. They play full retake. Comes in with that utility behind it. Heap might be able to pick some up from the bodies of the T side. If they actually continue forward, that'll be left to JW. Heap looking to clear things out of the corner, but with the Molotov where it was, he's not expecting Danis to be coming in from behind, but Danis doesn't have the timing anymore. It's all a question of how long he'll take to peek, and he might even end up finding due for his trouble as the first found, and he backs off. He doesn't know JW was there. The timing could go both ways now. It's only down to Trunix, and with so much space being bought by Pepsor, JW's in the site. He's got the kit as well, but knows he needs to take the peek. Danis on the other side is trying to spam through. If JW had stuck it initially, maybe there would have been a chance, but Space instead run away 13-11, and they make it work.
They really bled out that clock when it came to that 3-on-2, and yeah, Danis able to push initiative and get so much information before it actually came to defending the site itself. Nice that we see Team Space come alive in that second half instead of kind of go off into the shadows like we did on the first. But the Eyeballers, I think, having...
Alright, our apologies for the slight break that we had to take, and we are going to be going right back into the series, so we're A-okay with things, not too extended. Time to find out who can actually take this one home and maintain their position in that upper bracket.
Yep, it's all about staying in the ESL Challenger League here in the low seed group. And right now it is anyone's route to really take. Team Space and Eyeballers duking it out and taking each other's map picks away in this series. Anubis will be our final stomping ground, and with the Eyeballs getting a T-side start, kind of hoping that they whisk away an advantage out of this half. Pistol will be a good place to start. Already a lot of space built up here by JW, but Team Space are not simply sitting around and waiting to see what the Eyeballs are up to. They're getting a lot of information through A main.
JW's position is still going to be incredibly important. Danis has been tagged up, and now this might be time for the CTs to start reshuffling back towards B through canals. JW is forcing rotations back into Temple, but Space are relying on the reinforcement to come through from Dark, so you could still end up with 4 players here on B. Space have got all the information that it can't really be an A hit except for some sort of weird timing, but only for JW, who's now moved in, finds the weird timing, and it's on the B site. First skill connected, Molotov to delay Vert from getting any peeks out. He can still get a sightline in, but there's everyone watching out for that exact angle. Bomb can be planted safely. X5 now back into things. Had a fantastic game on Ancient, is hoping to replicate his success over here as well, but with Heap on the other side of this pillar, it's a hard man to battle. Danis and his position will be incredibly delayed as he comes back over towards the B side. They're hoping to peek in together, but before they do so, Heap likely to take a duel, and with both players looking away, likely to take the win as well. Heap is feeling quite paranoid, and with Danis revealing position, he's realized for the right reasons.
Yeah, Danis trying to just get some kills on the exit. Couldn't get quite into position fast enough for any sort of support on onto those Dark players trying to climber back into the bomb site. Now, watching it from Heap's point of view, you know, he understood that his setup was going to be very strong if he took contact from his player playing from Glyph, but he was heavily exposed to the prospect of a flank as well as deep CT. So, you're right, a little paranoid, but it all works out in the end there for the Eyeballers in that post plant. Nice job from JW getting that flank and hitting that odd timing that Space were trying their best to address, but picked it up a little late.
Hey, just change, and the CTs are going to have to give up their life with their HP.
There have been quite a few force buys that have struck success throughout this series. This will probably not be one of them. Second kill found by JW, taking control through camera and carving out a path inside of A. Going back as well to clear main for the squad that are sectioned off. So that bomb can start to make its way over towards that site. Already a perimeter cleared out.
Yeah, this is going to be safe. Coming up from space. Unfortunate. It really is. But maybe Eyeballers want to go out and send a couple of forces over to see if they can hunt. I'd love to see JW drop the MP9 for another player. Let him go out and be a victim, theoretically.
Kind of disappointed in the second round buy from Danis that he went with the 5-7 and not the scout. If you're going to be an AWPer, you know, at least commit to the full role play.
Michael is also a bit of a scout enthusiast.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Everyone has to remember that.
Yeah. The FAMAS, very good in CS2.
Oh, the FAMAS, I'm right there with you. It is fantastic.
The scout, also the same. If CS2's meta is all about swinging, the scout is great at that, actually.
Well, it might be, but we're not going to see it, Michael, and that's maybe a shame, but Space will have no shame going into this round. They'll still have themselves enough opportunity to be able to try and put together a couple of kills, maybe save an AK into the next round or so, not to mention it was a round very similar to this where Eyeballers lost out on a key position of advantage in Ancient as well. Round number 3 against the 5-7 of Trudic. JW, around the corner he goes. Good for the one. We'll need to clear these angles out, but with 2 players on the other side, maybe not. He is just teasing them. He is simply not peeking right now. JW will finally be taken down. They've been waiting for that for what seems like an eternity. Now they have to deal with Golden. They do. Important kill as Vert had recovered the MP9 as well. Gives himself a bit of extra money. And now The T's have to be careful to bodyguard that AK. If the Space had been able to recover it, then this would have been a much more threatening round, and that's not to say it isn't already.
Couldn't tell whether Pepsor was going to try to ferry that AK over so that Heap could recover it, but he's in a tougher position to pick up a weapon. His position goes uncleared towards the left side of B main. Not something that they have to worry about too intently, though. In this 3-on-3, Space are not intent on peeking, but they could build a boost. Seems like they are trying to construct that behind Ivy. A couple of heads spotted and a lot of damage done to Pepsor, but not a kill. Spam right back from Pepsor, more than enough to keep himself alive, but that SMG still keeping pressure applied, and Sapek and Heap able to clean things up here for Eyeballers versus the low investment that Space came into this round with. And they keep their hands on 2 AKs as well, which was what they came into the round with. Well, they had a third as well, but no third man to wield that coming away from that. First gun round properly here for Team Space, and there will be AWPs on both sides of the server. That shining light on JW, who's our Kadia player to watch, and hoping that he can spark in with some interest here onto this T side as well. So far, I think his T side AWPing has actually bore more fruit than his CT.
Vertigo T-side JW was a treat to keep an eye out for. In the meanwhile, though, Fozil, he does get a treat. He has his eyes closed off and then is punched to death with an M4A1. Sometimes a silent death is the only treat you can get. JW Zop looking for a kill towards the back of Temple. The boost will give him a quick frag on Danis, puts the pressure on as well, and with Canales having an inability to rotate back in, Space will be left with only 2 players on the defense if Eyeballers commits over here. And now, in the meanwhile, Pepsor found out X5 pushing forward JW. Sightline established and it's Trunic to be traded. JW to get a second as well. That T-side success continues. Now all he has to do is make sure this bomb can be planted. Vert trying to push forward, and JW's already up to 3 in the inaugural round with the AWP. Heap can try and finish things off. X5 gets the better of him, and JW has to do it all on his own. Playing from behind the pillar, X5 looking for an AK, but JW's retreated back and playing for the late round. X5 will also be able to go forward, pick up the kit, does retreat it, and JW only trying to jiggle things out with a grenade in his hand. Buy some time and space. That is a massive misplay.
Yeah, a nade thrown and trying to escape. X5 was just waiting for him to emerge from that tunnel, either to try and challenge before he even tapped that bomb, or for this retreat that JW went for. I'm surprised that JW didn't just try and hold on to his position once he realized he was locked into that spot. He must have known as well that he did some damage to him, so if it came to that X5 was able to close that gap and swing onto him, you know, JW would have the health advantage to play off of. Never had confirmation that X5 was actually on the site itself and committing to that defuse. So a very odd decision, I think, made from JW in that moment, and not one that I would characterize him with too often either. But that's a nice 1 versus 2 from X5. Overpowered that rifler and even was very conscious and aware of the fact that JW could have been crossing with that smoke. You know, started spamming through it, even though there was all the possibility in the world as well that JW just played from B main.
Yeah. X5 is locked in for sure.
Very well aware of what JW was up to. That's a lovely nade onto Danis, who tried to throw one over himself, but he will still line up the flash for his teammate to hunt aggressively. X5 probing inside of A main.
It will be spotted out, and X5 can't really get anything from it. Meanwhile, reinforcement of the B site coming out from Space. It's going to be a mid-sided focus predominantly to start things off for Eyeballers. They're trying to find a bit more space for JW to go creeping and crawling through. They are keeping the B side players occupied so they can't retreat back for a reinforcement. Fossil, however, caught with an aid. Molotov there as well. Still gets the kill even if he's taken down after the time does finish up.
Yeah, very well coordinated between both, I think, Sapek and Heap. Getting the Molotov on either side of the entrance towards Cave, and with the extra damage that was done to Fossil, there was no escape. He had to basically jump into a smoke if he was feeling so brave, but that's where he got spammed earlier on. Molotov down here from Trunic as that smoke fades towards the entrance of Dark, and in fact funneling Golden further and further back. But with that smoke deployed, Trunic decides to give up on that venture. Meanwhile,
X5 also pushed forward on the bomb. Meanwhile, Pepsor dying him yet again. Heap, though, can't get the better of Vert. Although JW had found a lot of space back in towards the middle, now surely it will be expected and checked. And with the time where it is, the only way you win the round is by elimination. Elimination that will not be possible. Sure, you can whittle down the CT economy, but with Golden falling, even that's not really an option. JW takes down Vert. And all of the resources that they put into trying to getting him into middle end up not working out.
Yeah, that's not how you want rounds to go at all.
Yeah. I will say, I'm really impressed with the fact that Fossil found a kill in that position with all that pressure on him and utility being chucked at him. It was a very important kill in the round as well. That's why it had to be Pepsor alone on the retreat back with a bomb towards A.
I think in general, throughout this game, Team Space have just been more decisive about what they want to do. Even if they, you know, bound between bomb sites, they're doing so very committedly and with the whole squad. Diablos are far more spread out when they go for their ventures. Nice shot from JW. Boosted up for that angle. And Vert tried to show as little skin as possible, but still had his head ripped clean off. Rotates are here heavy here from space.
Again, mid-control will only matter if eyeballers are actually able to get the bomb over to the site they want. It's going to be a B crunch that's being planned. Pepsor has been left to be the GOAT that's probably going to be slaughtered, but maybe can get a little ram in. Re-aggression from JW. He finds himself another frag. With the AK, it's still going to be a tough fight for X5, but X5 gets the better of them all. Finally taken down. Brings it back to a 2-on-3. Danis, the timing not working for him. Nade's going to do good damage to Sapek. Remember, he didn't have the armor, and the bomb is planted, but the CTs have no idea where it is. Heap 250. Will they? It's going to take them a while. They have to check inside the site. They don't understand that the audio cues are coming from inside house.
They take so long to come to terms with the fact that this bomb is actually not planted on that A bomb site, and now they have to worry about so many advanced positions as well being held here by the eyeballers. But good news for them, they don't have any rifles to hold.
It might not matter. 10-second time has already started to stick through. All that Heap needs to do is wait. There's no smoke available either. The problem is that you just can't get onto the bomb in time. Space have been completely bamboozled.
Yeah, I thought that was, you know, them continuing to fight into that A bomb site, I thought was purely just to clear out Sapek, but they seemed still pretty convinced that it was the A bomb site until it was just far too late. They chew off an extra maybe 7 to 8 seconds off of the round timer of that bomb timer, just re-clearing, and then they realize, wait, there is no beeping. That is odd. Comms were probably cluttering their ability to hear that bomb. And Eyeballs was an absolute steal. All that presence being applied to A, but the bomb planted B instead. Now Spacer on the core buy. Very reminiscent of what we just saw from the Eyeballers. A couple of rifles, but that's about all they've got.
Again, it does feel like what are the keys for space is going to be on the CT side, finding a way to just clamp down on this inside pushes from eyeballers that come through again and again. Now, admittedly, this is a lower buy round, doesn't really matter all that much, but Yeah. The training is being done from eyeballers. I'm also curious about what the plan B is going to be. What do you do now that Space are inevitably going to be expecting it in the next round?
Oh, they're trying to set up over at B. I think Heap actually wanted to evacuate from his position, but he's been told to maintain a bit of a foothold inside of main. And the reason these A players didn't want to keep pursuing that direction is because Pepsor and Sapek are both tagged up quite heavily.
Left side smoke has been deployed. That should be revealing intentions. Even so, X5 wants to clear just in case, and they're still maintaining that Canal's presence. Sapek with only 3 HP will have to go for the safest plan possible. Golden in dark is taken down, and Pepso's crept all the way in through, right back over. Trunic won't be expecting it, but the grenade's at least going to try and do something to clear it out. But in the end, CTs will back off and look to save. Eyeballers have to be careful not to overcommit on the hunt early on. That could tempt the CTs back into it. Remember, Trunic has got a kit as well, so that would have been dangerous.
Yeah, definitely saving a lot more value than they gain should they die. I mean, AK's on the CT side as well is a pretty solid advantage, especially with how many times you often end up split. You're having to worry about the prospect of dark access and main, or players coming in from camera and A main on the other side. Having an AK can make a world of a difference in your effectiveness in getting a multi-frag before getting crunched, because that is one of the things about Anubis, is that because these territories are so often kind of conceded to T sides in the mid round, you are going to get crunched. It does feel like an inevitability so often. Unless you're dedicating a lot of resources to maintain mid control.
Very crucial fight over here. Fossil is going to be flame walking the other side. Sapek doesn't realize it. At least he dies to himself, but the Molotov's going to continue going. Fossil, good damage dealt. Now smoked off on the other side. CTs have maintained that mid presence as we were waiting to see. JW and Heap, however, are still going to be waiting for the smokes to deplete. Maybe a peek back down in middle after they do. They are staying for a really long time, and that's exactly when the CTs are backing off.
They're looking to retake it. Oh no, Danis rediverting, and Vert missing his timing as well. Just as he leaves those doors, goes back to clear in through middle, and JW finding the perfect space, and now can move into a crunch in on this A-side attack. Players coming out from main. JW getting another, and Danis forced forward because JW was going to start shooting him in the back if he didn't. 3-on-1 here for the Eyeballers. Fossil without much space or territory to play off of. Once again, this should be a save call decision. And the Eyeballers cracking in and finding quite a lot of success in the early doors of Anubis.
Dude, it seems like JW, every single move he makes, he's just got a force field around him where people just start backing off. I hate making Harry Potter references because, you know, I do think I'm a grown-up person, but back in Harry Potter, there used to be a thing that muggles would just remember something else when they came near a magic zone. Feels like JW's got a magic zone around him.
He's got like opposite polarity.
Yeah. But without them knowing it.
JW, quite the magnet man. Magic bullets. But yeah, repelling space. And honestly, they're going to be quite repulsed with the way these rounds have gone. They're losing a lot of these head-to-head fights with JW, whether he's been on lurks or going for some of these entry picks. You know, the low buy round that the Eyeballers pulled together was off the back of a JW entry. And right now, not looking too hot, our team space on this CT side. Sure, this is a T-sided map, but they're still expected to pull together at least 5.
We haven't really seen Space go for anything too aggressive so far. Would like to see that change.
Yeah, most of it's really come from A main.
A main, X5, yeah. Not really anything in B or middle or canals for that matter.
And it's not really that aggressive either. You know, it's kind of probe the outside of main, see if you can spot players, see if you can get away with one fight, and that's kind of it. You know, we've not seen what has become very meta in terms of players flying out from mid into the canals with a stair smoke down. You know, that's one of the major disruptors that I think quite a few teams are experimenting with. But not these teams, apparently.
Or at least not this one.
Well, yeah, well, not Space yet.
For Space, a lot of the aggression that has actually found them success has also been mid-round, right? You know, and it's the same one. X5, both rounds in Space have gotten so far. It's been a situation where, well, actually, one of them has been a situation where X5 finds a bomb carrier, rather. The other X5 just gets a kill on the player who was on lurk, and then JW flubs it in the 1v1. But yeah. We're back into things with the full buy from Space. Dennis will have the AWP gifted over to him by Trunic. Let's see what he does with it. Utility is a bit low on the Space side as they have committed very heavily into this. No pharmacists, no MP9s, nothing of a sacrifice being made as far as firepower. They feel like they've been losing their duels so often. Man, we see this. It's basically the same play, but maybe they can set up for a little bit more aggression to come through if they've got the AWP to cover off stairs, technically. Meanwhile, the grenade is good, and JW is going to get it. Oh my god, JW is going to have another timing. Vert. I keep calling him Vertigo, goddammit. Vert caught with a nade in his hand, otherwise could have found the frag over there, and now knows that JW is on the other side, and he is terrified.
I mean, with the game that he's been having, Vert knows if he turns his tension away, JW is somehow walking right behind him.
Dennis is even trying to get the spam in the meanwhile. JW will have a hard time backing off. This time the ghost is caught. And it's back to a 3-on-5. So ETs want to win this round cleanly. They want to be able to pick up a bit more money for themselves. Dennis. Oh, can't find the initial kill over there. Golden as well picks up a second one now. Back to a 2-on-3. CTs will be delayed in the rotate back. Fawcett has to hold down the line, and he does do so. Bomb drop, spam, Sapphic hunting, and he just can't find the frag. Third round now secured for Space, and they keep 3 alive.
Yeah, a lovely and essential double kill there from Fawcett. You know, them capitalizing as well on the fact that Dennis did actually hit his shot, but didn't finish off the frag. You know, those Eyeballers players were already working from a deficit, and for them, not being healthy for those duels, for those trades, just simply wouldn't do. Team Space not going overly defensive after they realized where the Eyeballers attack was coming from, and able to stand their ground and stop any prospect of a plant. But much better work inside of middle from Vert. Got his, albeit he had a nade out when he peeked in for JW, but you know, he called over Dennis to start almost baiting for him to a certain degree, and then Dennis is just able to whisk away the prospect of a mid fight being won by the Eyeballers. I think these Swedes are even a little worried. They've been conditioned to anticipate a lot of the fights towards A main. You know, they're throwing a lot of utility there that direction. They're not actually going for a lot of these double man starts at A either. That's where Team Space can feel pretty comfortable with the fact that they're going for these deeper holds at A. A little bit of a different angle from Vert for mid. Sitting in at that Nico box. Dennis even probing so far as main with this AWP.
Pepsol's died to this a couple of times already. Now the shot's been missed. Pepsol given a chance to recover, unable to do so. Dennis might even be keyed up for 2. He backs off. He doesn't want to contend. Was flashbang in Danis's face. He still is just dodging everything. Vert elsewhere, finding frags. And this time it is full domination from space. Eyeballers will not be able to buy into the penultimate round of the half.
Yeah, and that position being held by Vert actually just ends up netting him a lot of success. Had his struggles, was what, 2 and 8 prior to that round, but now able to come away with a double kill in a pretty isolated position. Caught Eyeballers off guard, and now with the money where it is, a real chance for Team Space to get themselves into that 5th, as well as even maybe tie up this half by the time we move away from their defense. They have not been going for anything too crazy here on the defense, but A-Main continues to be an avenue through which they're finding equalizers, opening picks, you name it. They're catching kills inside those A-side canals. Again, another nice headshot there from X5. It is dink for dink, but they now recognize that they're against these pistols. Danis even swinging so far as to try and hunt those kills with the 5.7. Could have fallen back into Trunic's loving arms. I'm sure he would have protected him. It's all pretty inconsequential.
After the kind of start to things that Eyeballers had, the fact that Space are looking like they could and probably should end up on 6-6 is very impressive. Ever since they've dealt with that mid-side presence from JW, and the fact that they've honestly never really lost control to A-Main unless mids lurked all the way through and found something. Space looking much more comfortable. Danis this time trying to get a sightline out in through middle, and that's what JW is here to punish. Spam right through, Danis taken down, and Vert might not need to.
What?
See JW, he can still fall to him.
That is such a big risk to take. And a questionable round to do it in. Team Space could have certainly caught the Eyeballers off guard, but now worked 2 men down. JW inside of the smoke without a weapon. Tried to recover something else, but is now smacking booties with another player. And X5 somehow able to no jutsu his way behind JW instead.
If he just randomly knifed him in the smoke, it would have been the most JW thing you ever see. They pop the smoke open, but Heap is trying to be the hidden man. He has already had the fear of mid put into the enemy team, though, and that's why X5 is going to be very well aware of this possibility. All Heap has to do is wait for his teammates to make contact. Pepzor should be the first one to be getting an eye line out, but Fozil once again winning the duel, and that's been the distraction that Heap needed to keep the advantage in their favor. Playing from a double peak in the site, and Billa, Sapik, and Golden continue to aggress. Heap still trying to play out the late round. Molotov down as well on the bomb, and Fozil might have gotten the frag, but Heap is still here to seal the deal. From the 7-5, Eyeballers will be going into the next half with a nice little lead. We're going to have to find out how they do after a break. An advantage found in the end of the half, eyeballers, but did feel like it could have been extended. Space looking better and better as the series goes on. Can they continue that trend into the second half?
Yeah, we put a bit of importance on rifler performances from either side, really. You know, whether that's been Danis, Trunix. I say Danis. I forget he's hoping. Yeah, sorry. So Fozil, X5, Trunix. As these players to watch, and you know, Heap is the player that we identified on the eyeballers, but honestly the rifle work and ult work from JW throughout that half certainly propping up the performance here of the eyeballers on Anubis. And I think if you're an eyeballers fan, you're hoping that maintains going into the second half, but expect a bit more bite out of Space, a team that have been very good and shown a lot of conviction throughout this series. They're not going to hesitate and rely on just that one man quite so heavily.
Golden's hoping to be able to pick up a couple of kills, but with X5's jumping Glock around the corner, no chance for that. Pepsaw, Struggleville in map, well then half number 1. Is really hoping that he can move to a different town as we head into the CT side, but X5, meanwhile, caught between a rock and a hard place. Danis is going to do the same to JW. JW had been dominating them in the middle before. Now it's time for his turn to be dominated. Sapek is going to be waiting around the corner. Trunic will take the quick peek forward, meets his demise. Sapek brings things back to a 3-on-2, and the CTs will have to accelerate. They do not have a kit. Vert defending out from bottom stairs next to camera. He will be second contact, and with that, the round is pretty much secure. Sapek also found out Vert gets the better of it.
Yeah, some lovely shots, and you hit the nail around the head. The fact that JW is caught out as well on that rotate, that late lurk in from Space, after drawing so much attention over towards Dark and the fights over that direction, the eyeballers lower their guard to the prospect of mid, and even though they do pick it up later on the round, they kind of give up position, and Team Space are able to roll with it right into an A-side finish. We will not see a second round force buy here from the eyeballers, even though that last round did come close. Trying to squeak out full rifles as fast as possible. Oh, very audible burning and retreat there from JW, who falls right into the nade as well, but that may tempt X5 to explore past those doors in mid.
He's just gonna be walking right into the biggest mistake in his life, theoretically. That's why Vert comes in from behind, Michael, and Vert cleans up 3. That's enough to be able to upgrade up pretty happily in the next round, and that's why he's happy to lose the Mark 10 as well.
X5's going to be pretty pleased with that. Could have walked right into the double boost setup there from the eyeballers, but instead his teammate does all the heavy lifting for him.
Might be a faster start out towards the B-bomb side with that smoke out. That one, of course, does land on the inside of Dark. Means that you can try and push in through B main and threaten a lurk or something like it. That's why you can also see Golden getting a bit more aggressive, and actually he's moved past the lurk smoke early on, gets a sightline, knows what's going on. Outside of B is completely empty. In the meanwhile, Danis on the boost will get nothing in middle.
That's maybe a bit of unfortunate timing as well there for Danis. I think Golden trying to dodge that nade, or rather JW trying to dodge that nade and dodge the bullet as well, all the meanwhile, but does get tracked down by the SMG of X5. Them closing that gap quite quickly towards middle and doing so with heavy numbers. Team Space were hounding for that kill, if not a trade at the very least.
Are we just going to see the CT side mid player lose every duel?
That could be the trend.
Oh my god, look at this. Eyeballers don't want that to be happening. They've got 4 players in middle on a buy round. Trying to full clear this one out, checking every corner, checking every angle. Sapek with a pre-fire as well is good for 1, and in the meanwhile, Golden is just keeping sightlines out. They don't have smokes either, so he could feasibly get a frag. Remember, Fossil has been tanked up a little bit as well. This M4 long range could be good, but he doesn't want to commit to a duel. If he doesn't get the instant headshot, no point for it for Golden. And Danis holding down the line with the AWP, now expecting Sapek to come in from behind as well. 3 players all together, and they don't want to battle the op.
Yeah, saving immediately. I mean, they know they have no kits, no utility as well to make any of these fights any easier. A smoke, a Molotov, something that could have sectioned off Dark, maybe a flash as well to pull Danis off that line. You know, those are the resources that they would have truly needed to go back in for this retake. But once again, some good presence of mind. Force JW away from that mid-control and able to get much closer to him, much more up and personal before JW could really react. And then once they found that solitary B defender, the flank was there for the eyeballers, but it was always going to be late with them wanting to walk it, not give information away to the opponents. Right now feeling a little underwhelmed with Pepso's performance on this map. I have my hopes held quite highly for him, given that at the early stages of the eyeballers he was taking quite a lot of fights towards Dark, and he was actually doing a pretty solid job in that role, I thought. But taking a bit more of a back foot to it, Sapek took that responsibility from him, and Sapek will once again be accompanied by Pepsor, but Pepsor does line the trade up at the very least.
Pepsor has to be careful. Fossil is just full lurking forward. And the smoke isn't going to save him over here. Fossil is going to start to take a peek. Pepsor spot out the shadow. That's what saves him. And now Fossil full swing out. He's got the aim. He's got the spam. And with that, Pepsor will be taken down yet again. JW is trying to jiggle out this hopper. He's trying every trick in the book. And in the end, it's just a straight miss. And JW overcommits. Danis given time to recover. And with that, it's a 4-2 again. Space looking to take the lead.
JW actually kind of outmaneuvered him there with the little fake flash with the USP darting around the other side. Danis did miss that shot, but JW unable to track him down. Had they been able to equalize back into 3-on-3, there was an argument maybe that they could have gone for this retake. You know, JW would have been pretty healthy having only combated an AWP. But without that, they were never really going to get too involved. Just like that, Team Space are showing some good footing here on this T side. Once again, finding quite a lot of entries, capitalizing on those entries, converging on the right site. And so long as they don't get caught off by some of the tricks that eyeballers are certainly known to explore. You know, plays around smokes and Molotovs. They are a tricky bunch to pare down.
Yeah.
You can tell that Space are playing very on guard.
Is there any plan for Heap to try and make a play in through... No, never mind. There is. I thought there might be an idea for Heap to try and push in through canals when he doesn't really hear anything on the other side. With 4 players in the middle, that wouldn't be the worst of ideas. JW has got a world to fight up against, and X5 is the first one on it. Oh my god! He has been decimated. This wasn't even a situation of timing, of good pushes, of any clears. X5 just takes his head off.
I thought we were half joking about the fact that these mid players were just going to get abused all game long, but that still maintains to be the case, and Heap doesn't go much better. Forward position inside the canals that could have severed off reinforcements from linking up inside of mid, but Space plaster him to the wall too. And 30 seconds left. They will have to converge on a site soon. It's looking like A will be the target, but this is also the one that has 2 eyeballers playing in defense.
Oh, the flash is too late. Trunic will be blind, but before that, he's already got the first frag. And with that, 2 players to defend on not Michael. They are still all going to fall everywhere on the map. Danis on the lurk on the AWP as well, finding success now up to 17 and 8.
Yeah, the end of that 3 versus 4 is definitely going to feel pretty disappointing with the fact that Flash, had it been, you know, half a second earlier, actually could have done some work and maybe even given them a fighting chance in defense of that A-bomb site. But as soon as that missed, everything crumbled. Team Space have been impressive, as they were the last season over as well. It is a shame that we see them in relegation, as it is the Eyeballers.
Yeah.
You know, 2 teams that made it to the playoffs last time. Now fighting to stay within the ESL Challenger League. But even amidst all the roster moves that Space have had to go through, the fact that they have the firepower to make it work, and as well, I think the trust in one another to pull together things in these mid to late round moments has been a massive boon to their squad, even if that hasn't really reared its head so much in Anubis. Talked about it on Ancient, the Golden Deeg.
Yeah.
It strikes once again.
Good to see. Even if the Golden D does strike, though, Michael, the problem still is you need a lot more than that, and Eyeballers have not been able to provide this game. Again, you'll find yourself in a map where it felt like you had 1 carry, but even that one's been disabled now. JW was not just blatantly out-aiming them at any given point. And on the CT side, it always gets a little bit more difficult. Oh. What a shot from Danis. JW is his next victim.
He was jiggling that just to try and avoid getting instant headshot, and it still didn't matter.
Well,
Danis the hybrid. Man's AWPing, man's rifling, and everyone's happy.
I don't think so. I can think of 5 people who aren't.
Oh, it's the Eyeballers. Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Put it together.
Sorry, I was just waiting to see if you would.
Yeah, yeah.
God, Pepso just cannot catch a break, by the way. Like, he's had a very poor series all in all, but it really does feel like at some point he's going to be able to save something. He's going to be able to get, like, win a duel out towards A. He's going to actually get something. And I know that his numbers are pretty comparable with everyone else, but the problem is some of the roles he was playing, especially on the T side, were so important to being able to lock out anyone pushing in from A main, which was a primary role of attack that Space was opting in for, that in our minds it just seems a little bit worse.
Yeah, this has not been a healthy map of play here for the Eyeballers. And this may be the last fighting chance they'll have at it. A full investment while Team Space are still at 11, but JW forced forward by the Molotov and right into the hands of Trunix. Pepsor does get his hands on that AWP and does successfully retreat. Maybe Pepsor will find more success now that he's got the big green. That's the change he needs.
It worked for Danis. He did also have to change teams, admittedly, but yeah.
Yeah, just like Boomage for real.
Right.
He changed teams. He started AWPing.
He did. All those facts are facts.
Just like Montu for real.
It's also a fact that they're starting to push out right into the B main area. The T's are now able to adjust in. Golden can't get the jump up, and both Fossil and X5 shut him down. Sapik on this bomb site will have to pull together a miracle. He's got 4 players coming over his way. Pepsol will be rotating with the AWP, which is really not the weapon you want to have in this position. Also, really don't want to be caught trying to make this a save. Sapek shoots out initially, good for the one, but Kruna gets a wall bang. Pepsol Good for another frag, but they are going to be re-peeking back over. Smokes all across the bomb site and dark. And that's where Pepso will be caught in a impossible situation. He has to move in through the smoke. He's deployed one of his own as well, trying to pair them up. And he backs off.
Yeah, he's worried they're going to try and walk through those smokes and somehow get behind him, but they're just holding the other side of it to make sure he doesn't get any space towards this site. Team Space, once again, closing out on another round. Just denying any possibilities to get these multi-kills. I mean, I think that's been the biggest takeaway from the series as a whole. Space, very adaptable. Maybe not coming in with the most intricate strategies, nor maybe the most methodical about their approach, but when they go in to take territory, they are doing so together. They're darting it with the right utility, and they come in with some nice clean shooting as well across the board. They have exceeded the level of the eyeballers, at least in this series. Right now, I mean, it's been a very deflated performance for all this eyeballer squad. You know, for JW as well. You know, that came out of that half with very comparable numbers. Has been kept humble moving into the second half.
Doesn't feel like he's found more than, what, 3, maybe 4 kills?
Yeah.
Golden. Hard line to toe with Fuzzle on the other side. The AWP doesn't actually strike in. Fuzzle doesn't even need to re-peek. Vert wins out his duel. Vert was being bullied on that CT side. Now him and his teammates are the ones doing the bullying. Double up on the T side allows him to guard off all avenues of attack, and now, I mean, to be honest, CT side don't even know it yet. Could have very feasibly been the same AWP jiggling back and forth, but no, that isn't the case. Push in from middle. B side is compromised. A is where the remaining CTs are, but they're actually looking to run away on Sapik at the very least. Pepso spots at the lurk over here. He wants to try and deal with it before potentially rotating as well, but with Vert being low and having the bomb, this is not going to be easy. At least Sapik is found, but Pepso's got a chance to be a hero. The bomb running away from him though, and it wouldn't have mattered. Space still find 13. They put eyeballers down to the lower bracket where they'll be facing Officers 9.
Yeah, I mean, a great win here for Team Space. A very close contest between these two squads in these first two maps. You know, trading between each other's map picks, and there was a moment where, you know, picking into the Vertigo definitely felt like a curveball for Space in this series. And they were, I think to a certain degree, they were